Hello, everyone. Welcome to Race Day Live on supercrosslive.com. We're here in Oakland, California for round 4, the 2016 Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship. I'm your host, Andy Bowyer, and beside me, as always, is Jim Hollywood Holley and Miss Mayra Tinajero. Welcome to the show, folks. Here we are, guys.
You know, after yesterday, I was kind of a little bit hesitant. Is it going to rain? But, I mean, you can see behind us we got the track walk, a little bit revised schedule. We'll talk about that later. But, Mayra, beautiful blue skies today.
Really, I mean, we're on the West Coast, so every round it's kind of been unusual that we've been worried about rain so much. It's like, are we in California or are we not? But thankfully, now in Oakland, sunshine.
Yeah, the track looks good. They had it covered up yesterday while the rain was coming down. Pulled the tarps off this morning, and if you can see over our shoulder, it's absolutely perfect. A little bit soft in some areas, but the Feld track crew will stay after that, and we're going to have great racing conditions today.
Absolutely, and like we talked about earlier, you're normally when we come on the air at 12:50, you see bikes out there already, and they're just finishing up the track walk. We revised. No free practice for the guys here tonight. They're just going to get right into it, into qualifying session. So from there on, everything's the same. It's just they don't have a free practice.
Right. So last week, man, what a race. 2 awesome races. That 250 main event was just incredible, Mayra. You remember Cooper Webb and Christian Craig?
Christian and Cooper were just going back and forth, back and forth. The entire crowd is just going insane. It was so intense. And we'll touch more on that. But, kind of being the new kid, I like to talk about the new kids. And I wanted to talk about Luke Clout.
Right.
So he comes out his first Supercross last week. And, I mean, he did fantastic during practice qualifying. I mean, his times were, in the top for the Group A while he was in the Group C practice. And then, wins his LCQ and then finishes 14th in the main. So he had a great first Supercross, and he ended up signing his 2-year deal now with that team, Mad Racing, Dirt Candy Suzuki. So, he's set for 2 years, Supercross and the outdoor seasons as well.
Right. Can't wait to see that piece. He was a good kid, a good Aussie, another Aussie, Hayden Melross and Hayden Richardson. Those Aussies are coming over here and doing pretty good. But speaking of doing pretty good, the track is in excellent condition. But when me and Jim were down there yesterday looking at it, it didn't quite look so good. So let's go back and check that out. We're here in O.Co Coliseum for round 4, the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship. Jim, we're in Northern California. It's the wintertime, so you know what that means.
Well, we talked about it in Southern California with El Nino, and I think we've done a pretty good job of dodging it at the 2 Anaheims in San Diego, but unfortunately here, got a little bit of rain, but that's all right. I mean, the Feld track crew, they do a great job. You
got
can see
it covered up.
Yeah, it's plastic all over. It's not raining on the track. I think it'll be good. The over and under bridge, Andy, I'm glad they brought it back. It's been a while since we've seen it. It always adds a unique thing to Supercross racing.
Big crowd favorite. It adds a special dynamic to that part of the track, too. It makes it a little more tight, a little more technical. There's always a lot of passing around that area, too. So it's going to be cool to see that part back for the first time in 2016.
Well, and you know what else is cool? I was in the pits earlier today. Blake Baggett's going to return. James Stewart's going to return. Unfortunately, Bogle's not going to return this weekend, but we got a couple heavy hitters coming back.
Right. Trey Kennard's going to be back. A lot of people might have saw his hand on social media. It's really tore up, but he's going to tough it out. He always does. Like you said, with James Stewart coming back, that really is going to put a kick into the series. I think a lot of people are going to be excited to see him go for a win in Oakland.
He's had good success here before. He's won here in the past before. Trey Kennard won here last year. So, can Dungey keep the ball rolling? He's got 2 in a row. And how about that 250 class? Can Cooper Webb make it 4 in a row?
Can Cooper Webb keep it 4 in a row? Can Joey Savacci step up? Can Zach Osborne step up? Can Christian Craig, who battled, crazy last week, and it was an awesome race. We hope to see a lot more of that. The track's covered up, but those tarps are going to come off, and we're going to go racing. James is back. It's kind of the big story.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see, we were there earlier and talked to, him and Blake Baggett. It's just good to see all the team Yoshimura Factory Suzuki guys here, They were there last weekend, but they didn't have any riders. They were there, for the fans to come by and see the bikes and the truck and everything, but they got the riders back, which is good.
Right, and another guy that's back, he never really left, but Chad Reed, 2 second places in a row, second place in the point standings. He's 13 points behind Ryan Dungey. But if Dungey slips up, who would have thought, who would have believed Chad Reed would be in a position to lead this thing 4 rounds in now?
Well, I think the rider that believes is Chad Reed.
Yeah,
I mean, he's putting himself in a good position, sitting second in the points, and just, really kind of mirroring Ryan Dungey when he's out there riding. If Ryan makes a mistake, Chad's right there to capitalize. Right. But Chad had some pressure last week from Eli Tomac and Kenny Roxon, and unfortunately Eli Tomac lost the front end there, and Kenny Roczen reaped the benefits from that and finishing up third. But you know, this is round 4. We still got a long way to go.
We sure do. You know, and I'm starting to wonder what Tomac, you know, is the pressure starting to hit him a little bit? Is he starting to think about those 4th place finishes? He's supposed to be winning races for Monster Energy Kawasaki, but 3 4th place finishes, not bad, but not great either.
Oh, we'll see here tonight in Oakland. We'll see if he can get on the podium. But he's doing the right thing. I mean, he put himself in a good position. I think that he got a little frustrated last week with Chad, you know, because early in the race you saw him come up on Chad, then he kind of backed off, then he came up again when he felt the pressure from Kenny Roczen. So he's rising to the occasion, you know, he's feeling Roczen coming, so he's coming up. It's just he lost that front end, and I know he's got to be bummed with himself. But I don't know. I think if I'm playing the RM Fantasy Supercross fantasy leagues, I think that I'd put him on a podium.
In the top 3.
I think he's due. I think he's due, you know.
Right. But we spoke a little bit about that 250 race, and it was something to be in Anaheim Stadium and have everybody jumping up and down in their seats, and Christian Craig and Cooper Webb were passing each other back and forth. I mean, that was as loud as I've heard that stadium in a long time. Let's go back and take a look at the 250 highlights from last week.
Round 3 of the 250 Supercross West Championship took place in Anaheim, California. The first corner was the important part of the night.
Couple of Geico Honda riders out front, Dakotas, Christian Craig, but in the second turn it was Joey Savacci, the 37 on the Kawasaki, with the lead.
Craig got his first heat race win earlier in the evening, puts himself up into the lead, and then these guys would all come chasing after him. Osborne and Cooper Webb, who'd been undefeated so far this year, fighting inside the top 5.
And watch right here, watch the 37 of Savacci. He goes down hard in the whoops, gives up a shot at the podium.
Cooper Webb closes in on Christian Craig, and this would be the best battle of the night.
Craig did his best to hold the #1 position. They would swap the lead back and forth. But in the end, the #1 of Cooper Webb would not be denied.
He makes another move on Craig, gets past, and once he would finally lock it down, Cooper Webb would just disappear on the field. Pushes Craig a little wide, comes on through. Then Craig would have to deal with Osborne.
Zach Osborne strong through the sand section in the whoops. Makes the move on Craig, kind of blocks him out a little bit.
But nobody had anything for Cooper. Cooper Webb, he's only got 2 heat race wins this year, but he's got 3 main event victories. Cooper Webb, the points leader, the 250 Supercross West Championship.
I told you it was a race. These guys were going back and forth like crazy.
You know, the thing that I noticed about that is, you know, they were making block passes. They were pushing guys out. They were not taking guys out.
No.
They were pushing them up. The guy was smart enough, you know, if it was Webb or if it was Craig, you know, to back off the throttle. Hey, he's already committed. He's going to make the pass. If you stick it in there, now it's not pushing somebody out. Some people think, well, he just took him out. You got to be on the other side of that. You got to be smart enough to not let yourself and back off and realize that, hey, that guy's got the line on me. I got to back off or we're going to come together.
Both go down.
So I thought that was excellent racing. I know all the people in Anaheim really just enjoyed it. Like you said, everybody was standing up. It was exciting there for a couple laps. And, you know, Christian Craig, he's just got to build a little bit on his stamina those last 5 laps, and then he'll be right in there, and we can see that go on a little bit longer. And I like that type of racing. And then Savacci, you saw him go down. That was just the thing where the whoops were treacherous.
I think he was focusing on the guy that was down.
He was. He didn't want to hit him, and he wanted to change his line. And once you're committed in the whoops and you got the hammer down, it's very hard to start changing lines. And you saw what happened. He tried to change lines so he didn't hit the rider, and he ends up going down himself.
Right, but Craig was having a great night. He won his heat race. He had his son on the podium. It's a really cool story. Jim Holley was able to speak with him after the race. Here's what he had to say.
Christian Craig, congratulations on your first podium of your career, man. You were fighting out there for that podium, and you were fighting for the win.
Yeah, getting into the lead on the first lap past Joey through the whoops. That was my strong point all day, was the whoops. It's funny, you get a bunch of people come up and they're not saying how good you're riding. They're like, dude, you're flying in the whoops. So that gave me some confidence, and it gave me into the lead in the main event. So got a heat race win. It's all starting to click. The past 2 weeks I've rode around in 75% and go back to during the week. And I show the speed on the practice track, and it's all about bringing it out to the racetrack. And so finally starting to show it. I say I wasn't there quite yet. I need 5 more laps stronger in me, and that race pace is quick. Number 1's quick, but I think I can get him here pretty soon.
Well, and you mentioned that you were quick all day in qualifying session. You were quick in that heat race. You passed number 1. You won the heat race. And then, like you said, you just, for 10 laps there, you were the guy. It's just that last 5 laps. How do you duplicate that last 5 laps at the test track to better yourself? Now you know what that pace is, that last 5 laps.
You go to the practice track, I say you do 20 laps. I've been doing 20s, but you do more. I need to do more. It's good to get your feet wet and know what you need. So to come out with a 3rd is awesome, and we're going to go back. We're not done yet. I have a lot more in me. I have a race win in me, and it's all going to come out here soon.
Well, and I thought you had it here tonight because I was going to go back. I go, man, your dad, Michael Craig, he won his first here at Anaheim. I'm going, how cool would it be if Kristen gets his first? But, hey, you got your first podium here at Anaheim.
Yeah, my dad got 2 wins, and I'm hoping to beat what he did. So we have a lot more left. And the Geico Honda team's awesome. My bike is amazing. So go back, get ready for Oakland.
Likable fellow there, Christian. Good story.
It's interesting that, you see him with his son on. I've known Christian since he's his son's age, and I think you're seeing a more mature Christian. As well as anybody, Andy, you're a proud dad for the second time. It kind of changes you, and you kind of put things into perspective, and I think that's where Christian Craig is in his career, because earlier in his career, he made some mistakes when he was riding with Joe Gibbs and things like that. Then he came on to Honda, then he says, I'm done with this, I'm retiring. I think that he prematurely retired, and he said, look, I left a lot out on the table. And I think once he had a son, it kind of put everything into perspective, and, he could get his first win here. Oakland, it's interesting here. There's only first-time winner has been James Stewart's brother. Malcolm Stewart got his first win in the 250 class. Maybe we can see Christian Craig do the same here tonight.
Right. Well, we're going to see Christian Craig on the show here later on after his practice. It's going to be good to talk to him, one of the best guys in the 250 class, to see what the lines are shaping up and how the conditions are. But we need to talk about that 450 main event, and the main storyline there is the big number 1.
He's strong. I mean, a lot of people, knew that he was going to be strong, but they really didn't know he was going to be this strong this early in this championship fight, and he's here.
19 podiums, 2 out of 3 wins. But it was a good race for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th that you could throw a blanket over Reed, Roczen, and Tomac. Let's go back and take a look at those 450 highlights.
The highlights of the 450 main event from the 2nd race in Anaheim in 2016. The right-hand first turn, a challenge all night.
Davey Millsaps on the BTO Sports KTM out front with the hole shot.
It was a brutal day for Trey Canard, and it got even worse in the main event. Justin Brayton and Canard battling into the corner, and then it gets worse as they come out of it.
Wow, Justin Brayton tries to get to the inside of Canard. He tries to close the door. Brayton gives him a little help there. Canard gets a little crazy and goes off the track.
Eli Tomac didn't get a great start, but he charged up through the field, battling with Weston Peick, making his first main event of the year. Here's a battle for the lead. Millsaps had gotten the early lead, but the reigning champ and the points leader, Dungey, makes the move to the inside.
Then it was Chad Reed, the number 22 on the Yamaha, getting to the inside of Davey Millsaps. That puts him up to 2nd.
Look at Tomac coming through, charging through the whoops around the outside, and he's past Millsaps, and now the 3 is running 3rd.
But on the final lap, Tomac running 3rd behind Reed, slides out. Well, that allows the 94 of Ken Roczen to go by and take the final spot on the podium.
Ryan Dungey, the reigning champ, takes his 2nd win of 2016 and his 4th in his career here at Anaheim.
So Tomac was that close to a podium and lost that front end, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, and this is something that it's been throughout his whole career. I mean, we've seen him lose the front end on the Honda. A lot of people think, well, maybe it was the Forex tires, this and that, but we're seeing him lose the front end on the Kawasaki now. So, I mean, I don't know. You're working with Eli. Maybe to me, I didn't break it down. I just kind of saw the highlights of it. Looks to me like he's a little bit too far back. He needs to get up, put a little bit more weight on that front end, because it's something that keeps occurring in his career, him losing the front end like that coming out of a corner. And I'm not sure if it's just, he's trying to slide back, exiting the corner and get more weight on that rear wheel. He might be sliding back a little bit too early. I think I might hang into there a little bit longer.
Right. At the front of the pack, we saw Millsaps get the whole shot and lead 3 laps. We didn't talk about him yet, but that was a good ride for him. He didn't quite have the pace. I think he got tight and fell back through the field. But a rider that was out there riding really aggressively was Justin Brayton. We saw him get into Kennard. Later on in that main event, he got into
Weston Peick, that last lap. Weston Peick, they were battling. I think it was 7th and 8th. Brayton ends up getting 8th, and Peick ends up going down and getting 14th. So he's not making any friends out there, that's for sure.
I asked Justin, I was like, how'd that go? How was Weston after the race? He's like, oh, he was upset. He said he was gonna get me back and stuff. So we'll have to keep an eye on that tonight on FS1 at 7 p.m. But this track's coming together really good. The sun shines out. It's drying out. It's going to be perfect. We have the Kawasaki track map coming up. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this track in Oakland.
Well, round 4 here, you see it, and it looks a lot better with that plastic off of it. We're going to wait here, and here's the interesting thing is we see our number 16 for 2016 run it down in the first turn.
Right.
It's a left-hander real hard. You're going to go over this and double, and then you're going to double into that corner. Remember this corner here, Bowers last year, and Webb got into it. Then a long timing section as they run down into this sweeping right-hander here. Moguls off camera, then you're going to come up. This is a pretty big that's the over and under bridge. You want to land on the downside there, keep that momentum, get through the whoops. A left-hander, another little timing section here. Then you're going to make this left right here, and it's going to be a double, step on, step off twice.
That looks technical.
Into a left-hander here. Then you're going to come out of here and hit this 3-3.
3-4, whoa.
I don't know if you're going to do 4. Then you're going to go up and over and down and back underneath the over and under bridge, and then right into another set of whoops. And this is where it's going to get interesting. After this right-hander, they're going to run it down the starting line, but they're going to go a little bit deeper. There's a berm right there. They're going to go. Then they're going to come up, and then this here.
Yeah.
You say there's no 65-foot triples, but that makes up for it on that double. And that's a lap here at O.com Stadium here in Oakland.
Yeah, the track looks awesome. Like you mentioned, there's no 65-foot triple, but look how, the double is really big. They come around the corner after the starting line on the first lap, and we'll see. When we look at it in person, it always looks bigger than when, these guys get out there, the best Supercross riders in the world hit it, but it looks like a big jump to me, Jim Holley.
It is, and I'm glad they didn't put it right after the start. They could have ran down into that first turn and hit that right away. I think it's such a big gap to hit right off of the start, so they said, look, let's just turn to the inside of it. We'll get into that timing section. We'll deal with it when after the first lap when everybody kind of separates.
Right. And we have the under and over bridges back. Back old school. You went through a few of those in your career.
I like it. And to construct that thing, it takes a lot of manpower, a lot of effort. That thing's got to be structurally sound because of all the dirt they put up on top of it and everything. The guys are really just jumping over it. There's no pressure there, but that dirt's heavy as we're getting a chance to watch the first Group B in the 250 class qualifying. And remember, this is the first time they get a chance to look at it. It is in qualifying because we did not have with the changed schedule, we did not have no free practice. So this is the first chance these guys are getting a chance to put some rubber to the ground here.
Yeah, the track looks excellent. The sun's awesome. The dirt's starting to come up. The moisture, it's going to be there tonight. I think the conditions are going to be perfect all night long. But track's in excellent condition. I can't wait to see how it's going to rut up a little bit. This NorCal dirt's a little bit softer, so I think the ruts are going to come into play. They did last year, if you remember, and that's going to make the races a lot more interesting, a lot more technical.
Absolutely. With that being said, you look at all these guys qualifying here. It's curious that I'm looking at Zach Bell, a 102.9 there for Bell. Usually he's in that A group, but he hasn't had the good finishes this year, and he's outside that top 20, so he's in the B qualifying group right now. So.
Right, and this 250B qualifying coming up, or actually not coming up, it's on the track right now. Zach Bell leading him around a 102. So we're going to have a good, healthy, long lap time, Jim Holley.
And there's our buddy Luke Clout making his appearance in that B class. We saw him last weekend in that C practice there, so now he's in that B rewarded with that 14th finish that he had last weekend in Anaheim to set his debut there. You see Dylan Epstein there, and Austin Politelli there and a couple other guys out there. Johnny Gelato. Is that how you pronounce that? Gelato?
That's it. Yeah, we have 250B on track right now, but this is our first Fantasy Insider segment. Let's go ahead and get into that right now. Right, so, 250B is on track right now, but the 450 division is where we do the Fantasy Insider, and I can't say another word without saying I think Ryan Dungey's going to be on the podium, Jason Anderson, and I think Eli Tomac.
Yeah, I got to agree, as we're seeing
here. There's our top
picks. Dungey, Roxon, Reed, those are all sound. Tomac, another fourth.
Right.
And then Anderson and the wild card Millsaps in that 18th position. I think maybe Millsaps might do a little better. He got a little confidence last week with running up front there. And
there's the leaderboard.
Pop 67 with 246 there. And
got 20 points on him.
Yeah, he's starting to pull away like Ryan Dungey's starting to pull away a little bit in the against Chad Reed. But I think those are all good picks. I think that you're correct with Tomac being on there. I think, round 4 here, he's got to get on that podium, I think.
Right. Well, those are our picks. Make sure to go to rmfantasysx.com and get signed up today.
Chris Howell up on the leaderboard now with a 1 minute flat, 1 minute .3. Austin Politelli, a 101.7 there.
Right.
There's Zachary Cummins sitting in that 4th, a 102.
Yeah. Lap times are going down. The speeds are coming up. We have a big show for you folks today. We want to thank all you guys for tuning in. We have a word from our sponsors coming up. We'll be right back.
Amsoil. Let nothing stand between you and a great day of riding. Protect your weekend. Choose Amsoil synthetic lubricants for your bike and your truck.
DC Shoes is proud to be the official footwear sponsor of 2016 Monster Energy Supercross. DC, defying convention since 1994. Check out our latest products at journeys.com.
Motorcycle Mechanics Institute wants to give you a 2016 Kawasaki Teryx 4LE side-by-side. Go to www.winthatride.com to enter for your chance to win. Oakley is proud to be the official eyewear sponsor of Monster Energy Supercross. Follow us at Oakley Motorsports and at Oakley on Instagram and Twitter.
Sponsored by Yamaha. From world-leading motocross, supersport, and cruiser motorcycles to ATVs, side-by-sides, generators, and more, Yamaha revs your heart.
There's a lot of performance hidden in these tires. These tires are insanely good. Selected as a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. If this is what experts thought about Cooper tires, imagine what you'll have to say. They're impressive on all surfaces. Put Cooper tires on your car today.
High RPM aggressive riding takes a toll on your engine. Extreme heat adds to the challenge. Amsoil synthetic dirt bike oil synthetic base oils resist viscosity loss. The oil provides a protective film against wear to gears, bearings, and pistons. An extreme simulated start test and on-track testing with professional riders reveals Amsoil synthetic dirt bike oil delivers bulletproof wear protection. Amsoil synthetic dirt bike oil. Out front performance.
Motorcycle Mechanics Institute invites you to text SX to 82257. Enter for your chance to win this 2016 Kawasaki Teryx 4LE. Again, text SX to 82257 for your chance to win this 2016 Kawasaki Teryx 4LE.
What's up, guys? Chase here at Rocky Mountain ATV-MC, and it is time for Fantasy Supercross. If you played Fantasy Supercross last year, the gameplay for this year is going to feel very similar. However, we have made some big changes to scoring that we think you guys are going to love. For 2016, we'll be giving away over $100,000 in prizes. Our grand prize will be the all-new 2016 Toyota Tacoma. We also have a brand new Race Prep KX450F and a KX250F for our first and second place winners. We have got a ton of other prizes that we're going to be giving away as well. We've also got weekly prizes for our top 10 winners, so if you get a late start to the season, it's not a big deal. You will still have plenty of chances to win. To start playing, simply go to www.rmfantasysx.com and create an account. RM Fantasy SX is fun, it is easy to play, and it makes Monster Energy Supercross even more exciting, so make sure you sign up and start today.
Everything you thought you knew about off-road vehicles is about to be redefined. Introducing the world's first and only pure sport side-by-side, the all-new YXZ 1000R from Yamaha. With a high-performance 3-cylinder engine, 5-speed sequential shifting, and long-travel Fox suspension, the world of off-road sports side-by-sides has shifted forever.
Your journey to work, to play, to see places you've never seen before. It's not where you're riding, it's who you're riding with.
Hey there, this is Jamie Little with Fox Sports. You're watching Race Day Live.
And welcome back to O.Co Coliseum in Oakland, California. It is round 4 of the 2016 Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship. It is pretty sunny skies today, Jim Holley. The rain has stayed away. The track looks awesome, and so far we're off to a good start.
And it looks good for Zachary Bell there with a 58.3 there, and he was looking good. I know Terry Beal and the boys over there got to be happy, and trying to see who this rider is here and get a chance to watch him go around the lap.
And look at our guy Luke Clout, 4th place with a 59.3.
Is that Cummings there?
That
203?
Yeah.
Zachary Cummings.
250B qualifying number 1.
Putting in some good rides. Had to ride that first arena cross when it started up to get some points.
Whoops look pretty good. I've said it enough already, but the conditions are absolutely favorable. You know, when we were here yesterday and the rain was coming down, they had the tarp on the track. You just, you know, you hope it's going to be as good as it is right now, but it really worked out well. Bam, nice whip.
Zach Bell, that's it. This one's over.
So look who jumped to the top.
Luke Cloud, our boy Luke Cloud from Australia.
Right.
57.8 there for him. So Cloud's going to have the fastest time.
57.8.
I think these will go down just because of the fact that these guys really, they didn't have that free practices first time they get a chance to get out on the track, as you're getting a chance now to look at the leaderboard here with Luke Clout, Zachary Bell, and Austin Politelli, and Scott Champion there in 4th. Chris Howell in that 5th spot. But with that being said, you know, when they come out for their final qualifying session, they'll have a little bit more time. You got to remember that they've only got 10 minutes under their belt on this track here in Oakland.
Some tricky rhythm sections. I think those lap times are going to come down when they figure out some of the longer rhythm lanes and start tripling into them a little bit. You know, we saw the jump off tabletop section. I don't think the guys were hitting that yet. But when Cooper Webb rolls out there, the big bad wolf, as I like to call him, he's going to show him the fast way around the track. And I kind of wanted to talk about him a little bit. There's only been a couple racers in Supercross history that have swept a regional Supercross. You know, James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael, I believe, are the only two. Cooper's looking pretty good to do that this year. Not to discount Joey Savacci or Christian Craig, but he's that strong.
Well, the thing that I noticed that, you know, if he runs the table and able to duplicate that, he's making it hard on himself, because you remember you talked about James Stewart, Ricky Carmen. Those guys whole shot and they were gone.
Right.
This kid here, Cooper Webb, he is coming from the back of the pack, mid-pack and everything. He's fighting for it.
Right.
And look at what happened last week, like we talked about with Christian Craig. I mean, he is battling for those wins. So I would be interesting to see, and I'd love to give him $1,000 from supercrosslive.com for that hole shot. I want to see what he can do when he gets a hole shot.
Right. Speaking of the hole shot, there's the MX versus ATV Supercross Encore starting line. The Jeff Emig key to the race, the hole shot.
Yeah, it's the most important thing, but although if you talk to a guy like Cooper Webb, he'll say, no,
exactly,
it's
like
not
you were
that
saying.
Important. It's not important. I can come from 10th, 12th, 8th. Don't matter. I'm okay.
You know, Jim, it's funny how methodical he is in his attack because he doesn't panic. He doesn't just go crazy trying to make every pass at every little hole. He knows it's a 15-lap main event, and he just kind of waits and looks. He's aggressive, but he's not making dumb decisions, and he's really using his head coming through the pack. And just kind of these guys have to be a little bit befuddled at this point.
Well, and the thing about it that I noticed watching him come through is he never follows a guy. He'll go in, he'll turn down real quick, he'll square things up. He doesn't put himself in a bad position if that other rider gets out of shape. And
you know who used to do that? Ryan Villapoto.
Yep.
Never followed.
Never followed.
Like you said, Jim, he'll take a bad line. He'll go outside. He'll go inside.
And if you watch him, like we said, if you watch him when he comes out, Webb, because this is the C group right now, if you watch him, you know, he doesn't really take the same line over and over again like you see a lot of riders do. He'll move around on the track. We're getting a chance now that this is the first opportunity for the C group in the 250 class to go out there and, you know, they've walked the track, that's it, but no free practice, and they're getting around it just fine. I mean, they know.
Just hitting that yeah.
You got to remember that these guys practice on these type of courses, you know, all the time. So they know what the bike's capable of doing, how far it can jump when they seed hop something.
Right, they're still amazing. You know, these guys are the best in the world. You know, compared to a Cooper Webb, they're not as fast. But when you go to, like you said, when you go to these guys' personal practice tracks, these guys are fast.
Well, and you see right there that, you know, they rolled that finish line jump because that's a big finish line jump to huck.
Without,
you don't want to come up short the first lap and case your ankles or anything like that. Now they're going to come by that new starting line. You're past where you turn.
He sent it.
See, he sent it right away, and he OJ'd a little bit, overjumped a little bit, didn't get the front end back down. Same angle as the downside of the jump there, but this is trying to see his number, Andy.
Lorenzo Camporisi is the fastest
guy.
That's an
Italian
That's
boy.
who we got in the camera right now. Yeah, number 384. Camporisi. My Italian accent isn't very good.
Right there on that over and under, he jumped up to the top and then jumped off.
Right.
As this Group C qualifying rolls on, he'll land on the downside. That's a good look at it right there. They're just kind of jumping up. You want to land on the downside and grab a handful and go right through those whoops.
You want to have your business together before you get into those whoops. You don't want to get squirrely on that jump on to the tabletop and go into those whoops with you know, without everything working the way it's supposed to. You know, it just takes me back to the first lap of practice of the season, and Marky Worth, who was on the new Suzuki team, charged that dragon back too hard, went over the bars, dislocated his hip and his elbow, and I hated to see that. It's a good up-and-coming kid, one of the best up-and-coming talents in the country, but that first lap, I think you kind of need to just get your wits about you and take it easy a little bit, if you agree.
Absolutely. I mean, even if this is round 4, take it easy the first lap, the second lap. Ease into this thing gradually. You know, you don't climb a ladder by jumping up to the top of the step first.
Right.
You got to take one step at a time, and I think that's but, you know, with Marky, you know, it's the first race, the jitters and everything.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just got a text from who's listening to us over in England.
Who'd you hear from?
Josh Hansen.
Oh, 100.
Josh Hansen listening in to us over there, and I threw him a text back, and I said, hey, are we going to see you on the East Coast? We'll see if he answers or not, but
sure would like to see him. It was fun watching him in the West Coast last year. He was making gains all the way through the championship, was scratching on the door of a podium, getting good starts. Remember, at Levi Stadium, he led that race for like 8 or 9 laps, had a mechanical failure, but one of the most talented dirt bike riders in the world, from free riding to racing. Thanks for dropping in, Josh Hansen, and thank you for tuning in, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in. All of our international viewers, everybody domestically here. We have a good show for you guys today. We have some great guests. Later on in the show, we'll hear from Pat Alexander. We'll hear from Christian Craig. We're going to have some guests from MX versus ATV Supercross Encore. We're going to have a good time. I'm just happy the sun shines out, Jim, so I'm pretty pumped up.
Yeah, I'm happy, you know, not only for us, but, you know, for the riders and the fans. I mean, you know, it's great to see a mutter, you know, but not this early in the
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like mutters.
I don't like mutters either. I didn't enjoy racing them when I was a racer myself, and it just, they are what they are. It's a spectacle, but I would rather see the greatest Supercross racers in the world having a dry track.
Well, and the other thing with the mudder is it's not only the riders and the fans, but you got to remember the mechanics and the truck drivers.
Yeah.
It just destroys a motorcycle. These things got to come all the way down to the bare frame, all the wheel bearings and everything. All that mud and grime gets inside everything. It's a lot of work, and there's not another weekend off. Next weekend we'll be down in Glendale, Arizona, at the University of Phoenix Stadium, there where the Cardinals play.
Right. One of our new venues in the 2016 tour this year, there in Foxborough. But here with about 5 minutes to go in 250C qualifying number 1, it is Brandon Leith with the 103, followed by Blake Lilly. And third position is Lorenzo Camparisi, and Tyler Custer and Dimitri Rolando rounding out the top 5.
Yeah, we've talked about it earlier, Andy. These C practices, there's only 11 guys out there, which is a great opportunity for these guys to
get some space.
Because they need space, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And it just takes a lot of pressure off of them when you don't have as many guys out there. You can kind of ride your own lines, and you don't have to worry about if someone's going to land on you or jump on you. And I kind of enjoy seeing, the spacing that we got out there as you get a chance to watch some of these guys go through the whoops here. I'm trying to see what bike number that is there. It's Kawasaki. I can see that, but I can't see the number.
There's Blake Lilly right there, number 138. Had a good corner.
Yeah,
he's coming up to the big double right here. Let's see how he gets over it. Nice and clean. Like we were saying, when we were walking the track and we were looking at it, I'm like, that thing's huge. It looks scary. No big deal to these guys. No big deal.
You got to remember, Andy, we're older.
We're
now.
A little older.
It definitely is scary to us.
Yeah.
But not to these guys.
Yeah, it's funny. I always try to put myself in their shoes when I'm doing track walk. I'm like, okay, would you hit this? No. Would you skim these whoops? No.
but they will.
Yeah. They're just thinking about how to go over them faster. They're racing over these things, and that's one thing. To do the obstacles is one thing, but to, try to.
I'm impressed with Lilly. I mean, he goes up to the top now with a 102.9 here. I'm impressed with the whole group out there. I mean, all these guys. I mean, they're putting in some great rides, and like we said, these guys, this is the first chance they're getting a chance to look at the track, and they're on the clock already. No free practice here today in Oakland. A revised schedule.
You could tell as that rider went through that rhythm, though, it's starting to rut up a little bit in between those jumps. That was one of the main obstacles with the Feld track crew. It wasn't the stuff that you could see. It's in between the obstacles where it gets soft, and it's hard to dry that out. The only thing that's going to do that is a little bit of sunshine and a little bit of time. But you can watch right here. They're kind of threading the needle with those ruts. You don't want to get one tire in one rut and the rear tire in the other. That's bad news.
Yeah, but I think after, like we've always seen each and every time, the Feld track crew, they get out there and they, groom the track and get it ready for the
got a rider down there in that section beside the starting line where off the start you're going to use that little berm. The next lap you come around, you skip over the little berm. And I was a little weary that somebody was going to get bucked on that, bucked over the handlebars, when I say that. But Blake Lilly at the top with the 1:01.6. It's a good lap time, followed closely by Tyler Custer, Dalton Oxborough, Brandon Leith, and Keeley Russell rounding out the top 5.
And what do we always say?
You don't like seeing him rolling around.
No, it's okay. Don't stop.
Yeah.
Don't stop. I want you to keep that good time that you got out there. You actually dropped it down, Lilly, to a 1:01.6, so make sure you don't stop on the line. You can roll things and you can look around, but you just can't stop.
Right. Yeah, that's the obstacle that bit the guy that was just starting his bike right there. You don't want to hit that berm sitting on the seat. Give you a quick trip to Indonesia over the bars.
Yeah.
Nobody wants those, but yeah, Blake Lilly looking good.
A few of my friends that I go out riding with sometime, old Jim Dunn, man, he has a few of those trips to Indonesia out in the desert. He still doesn't master it, but he's a fan of the show. He's listening in.
Blake looks good. Tall guy, lanky, nice smooth style.
Yeah, just the opportunity to, if he can get that thing into the main event and qualify into the night program, that's going to, benefit him immensely as far as getting a chance to go out there and put 15 more laps on this track.
Right.
Got a minute 17 to go here in this first of the qualifying session for the Group C 250 riders.
We'll go ahead and give some love to Blake Lilly's sponsors, KTM of Murrieta, Fly Racing, Pirelli, ODI, Toyota of Escondido, 2Times Motorsports, and 518. Coming to us from Wildemore, California.
Tyler Custer putting in some good rides now. Lilly a minute .9. Custer a 101.6, so, or 101.8. That's an 8. 101.8 for Custer.
Lilly looks good.
Yeah, like I said, Andy, we've talked about it off camera, the KTMs this year. I mean, you watch them go through the whoops, it's just tracking nice and straight. They don't dance side to side.
What do you attribute that to? The chromoly frame, whereas the other Japanese bikes have the aluminum frame?
Yeah, a lot of guys, they say that, the chromoly frame will flex a little bit more.
Right.
The steel frames are a little bit too rigid. When you hit those, the bike has no flex in it, so it starts to dance around. I mean, couple different things, maybe the suspension, but it just seems like every time I watch a KTM or a Husky, it seems like they're right on point.
And to simplify that for you, some of you newer viewers, the KTM and the Husqvarna have a chromoly frame, like we just mentioned. So, and all the Japanese bikes have the aluminum frame. Just little stuff like that. Keep watching Race Day Live, and we do our best to try to give you as much information as you can as the checkered flag is out. Our guy, Blake Lilly, with a 1 minute flat, followed by Tyler Custer, Dalton Oxborough, Blake Leith, and Keeley Russell rounding out the top 5. Nice, good, smooth, safe session there. Didn't see too many yellow flags. That's what I like to see the most. I'm knocking on wood right now, too. But guess who's next, Jim?
The big boys.
Yeah.
The A guys. I like the A guys.
Right.
And don't think that Blake Lilly and Custer and all these guys that we just saw, they're not going to go back to their pits. They're going to go up in the stands. You see a lot of the riders behind us here in the stands. They want to watch and see exactly, okay, that's what Webb's doing, or that's what Osborne's doing. Okay, now I can maybe duplicate that when I go out there for my final timed qualifying session.
Right. When they see a lap time that's a 56, they're going to go, how did he do that? But I see a couple of the rhythm lanes that they're going to try some different combinations in, I think, in this practice. Joey Savacci, he's always a guy that's really aggressive at doing that. I'd look for him to maybe put a triple in there, and see if that helps out the rhythm lane. But
there's Lilly there talking to his mechanic there, saying, hey, make sure we watch this out because I'm really not so sure.
He's saying, hey, look at the board. I'm on top of it.
Yeah. Well, and just getting a chance now to look at the A guys on the MX versus ATV starting line encore starting gate right there. Yeah. So here in Oakland. And just I mean, look at it. I mean, it's beautiful out there.
Perfect. And they're off.
This is that starting line. They only use this left-hander in the start. That's it. Something different I see Webb jumping right out right away.
Yeah, he doesn't usually do that.
He kind of lays back.
Mitchell Oldenburg, man.
He's always out there.
He was doing outstanding in the main event last weekend and stacked it up in the whoops spectacularly, picked himself back up, and got a top 10.
Well, the thing here that you're going to see, the whoops aren't quite as long as we had in Anaheim. So 2 sections, but a little bit shorter. So hopefully that'll help out Mitchell.
I was wondering how long Webb was going to sit back.
Just a second, that's all.
He was polite about it. 2-3-2 in that rhythm lane. I don't know if we're going to see anything different, but Osborne, I think, tripled out there. Zach's knocking on the door. When we interviewed him last weekend, he said that he was watching Webb and Craig, and he's like, I didn't know whether to push or not because I was afraid they were going to take each other out, and I didn't want to get swept up in it. So he said he kind of laid back and he was surprised at his pace. They were going inside and outside, so their pace had slowed down, and Zach could have pushed the button and maybe got by both of them.
Yeah, I think maybe this week he might do that, if that opportunity presents itself again for him, because you got to remember that main event is only 15 laps, and by the time you start, I think it was lap 10 when we started to see Webb get by Christian Craig. So there was only 5 more laps to go in that event. I think at any time it's almost like a horse race. When do you let your horse go? When do you let that motorcycle go? When do you pull the trigger?
Right.
I think that Osborne might have left a little bit out on the table last week. So I think this week we might see a different Zach Osborne. I mean, I know I talked to him last week in Anaheim about San Diego, him throwing it away, and gave Cooper Webb a lot of points. He lost a lot there, but he rebounded back last week with that second. Only lost 3 more points in that championship fight to the man who runs that red background with the number 1, Cooper Webb.
He sure does look strong. Super aggressive, racing the track.
Yeah, let's take
There's a little different rhythm there, yeah. And then this corner here, this right-hander with the moguls, that's pretty technical through there, Jim Holley.
Yeah, you can't go to the outside. I mean, you want to, just like Cooper did, you want to go to the inside and kind of drift out and get yourself set up to go over the over and under and line yourself up right for the whoops. There's a double. You see downside that and jump into that corner. That's the fastest way to keep that momentum going.
2-3-2. There's Zacho.
And Zach's doing the right thing. Just, hey, try to tuck in behind that number one, follow him around, see what he's doing.
Right.
You know,
he's pushing. Early on, it is Cooper Webb, Zach Osborne, Colt Nichols, Mitchell Oldenburg, and Kyle Cunningham riding out the top 5. There's Chris Aldridge. Haven't seen him get a start and show his speed that he's capable of.
Yeah, and I think, you know, maybe he got a little bit too detuned last year. We saw the speed last year, but we didn't see the consistency. We saw him on the ground a lot.
Right.
This year, we see a little bit of speed, but we see more consistency. We haven't seen him on the ground as much, but I think maybe he's got to get back to that old way and just kind of push it a little bit harder.
And look who jumped into the number 2 spot there.
Christian Craig, a 57.9, just a
couple
few
ticks
off of Webb. Yeah. Osborne, Nichols, Dakotas, Cunningham, Savachi, Oldenburg, Peters, Lieb, Aldridge, Smith in that 12th, Brackenhall 13th. There's our boy from Australia, number 72, par 72 I'm going to call him now.
Yeah, we've got a big crash. Mitchell Oldenburg, he's up, but he went down hard in that rhythm the dragon back section after the whoops.
Yeah.
He'll get back going.
And what that red cross flag means when you see it out there is just that you got to roll that section after the whoops, that left-hander there where he made that mistake. As soon as they get him cleared up and gathered up off the track, they'll pull that red cross flag out.
Right. As we see Joey Savachi. You know, he's had a tough first 3 rounds. Crashed really hard in practice at San Diego. Gutted out a second place finish. He wants to win. Mitch Payton wins. He wants to win. He's the winningest organization in this class. And when he's gone as long as he has without getting a win, it gets a little grumpy over there. But Joey Savachi training down at the Carmichael farm, and they do a lot of winning over there at the old Carmichael farm. So hopefully there's Christian Craig.
He's riding with a lot of confidence right now. I mean, that third place was huge, and yeah, he's the thing that separates Christian Craig from, like, say, his father Michael is his height. I mean, Christian's a pretty tall fellow, and he's got a good style, and he's got a good presence on the bike.
Excellent style. Bike looks good. Let's see where he jumps up there. He jumps up to second. Jumps up to the lead, 56.7. Jumps ahead of Cooper Webb's 57.6. So he dropped a whole second that lap. But we'll see as Webb comes around here.
Yeah, and I think, we still got 420 left in this practice, 418 now. We're going to see the times come down a little bit. Oh,
Jordan Smith. I'm turning around and seeing where
Craig's
he's at.
Teammate there, unfortunately, up on top of the Monster Energy tough block.
Looks like he lost it in the whoops. Good to see him up, though.
Well, at least he hit that tough block, and those are soft. Maybe didn't bend up the bike, let's hope.
Kyle Cunningham needs a start. I think he has speed to run up front.
Well, and he finished up good last week, a 7th last weekend. The week before, San Diego, he had a 9th, so he's moving in the right direction. I know that team, kind of came together late, and I talked to him off camera, and he said, look, we're just starting to roll as you're seeing
Jordan
Smith now get back on that motorcycle and get back after it. But Kyle Cunningham moving in the right direction with a 9th in San Diego and a 7th last week. Now the next step is, hey, let's try to get that thing in the top 5. And then hopefully next week maybe a podium.
Man, is Alex Martin struggling so far this year. Picked up that ride with Yamalube, Star Racing Yamaha. A lot of expectations for podium finishes out of him, and he's just had a tough road.
Well, and something like that, you mentioned a guy like Alex Martin, you got to look at Cooper Webb now. Just went up to the top of the board with a 56.4. But Alex Martin, there was really no pressure over there on the other team. The Cycle Trader Rock River Yamaha team last year, and you see that as a rider, you don't have the pressure on you. And he had a couple podiums last year. Now when he gets onto a team, a winning team, they've won championships on the East and the West and outdoors stuff. Hey, it's time to win races now. We expect you on the podium.
A little bit more pressure. I feel you, Jim Holley. I agree 100%.
Chris Aldridge.
A little under 3 minutes to go. 2.5 minutes to go, actually. It is Cooper Webb, Joey Savacci, Christian Craig, Colt Nichols in 4th, and Zach Osborne 5th.
Yeah, remind me next weekend when we're in Glendale, Alabama. I want to talk to Colt Nichols there because, I mean, I think Colt Nichols is putting in some fine rides and just, I mean, look at his qualifying times. He's sitting 4th right now with a 56.8. You know, that's 4/10 off of Cooper Webb.
Right. And when you look at the points, Colt Nichols is sitting 6th in the points. Alex Martin is sitting in 11th, you know, and Colt Nichols, of course, on the Cycle Trader Rock River Yamaha organization with Miss Christina Denny. Right. Time running out. It is Cooper Webb.
And they understand, you know, when Alex left, it wasn't nothing. Alex was happy with it. They loved him. It's just a money thing. They don't have the funds that the you know, the other team has, so they paid him a little bit more money to come over there. You can't blame a guy for that.
Oh, Cooper. That Dragonback section's getting a little cupped out. Seen Oldenburg go over the bars there, and Cooper made a little bobble, not much. The Wolf. I'm going to call him the Wolf. Let's see if that sticks.
I'm kind of looking at the track here, and and Webb looking over to see if he bettered his time, and he did. He put it into the 55.7 now for Cooper Webb. Savacci up to that second now with a 56.7. Christian Craig a 56.7 also. So Cooper Webb dropped it into the 55, the high 55s.
A whole second. He just hung a second on him. On a Supercross track with a 55-second lap time, you put a second on somebody, that's a lot faster. But like we were saying, you know, it's going to be interesting to see if he gets a big lead. If he comes out of Oakland with another win, where their focus is going to be for the East Coast, if they're going to put him on a 450 in Atlanta.
No, I think absolutely they'll put him on a 450, especially if we get down to Dallas and he wraps this championship up. I mean, that's the only thing. He's running a 450 next year. He's got to move out of this class. Why not put him on a 450? He's been riding a 450 in the international events, Australia, and
doing very well too.
Paris and stuff. So yeah, I mean, Now he's doing the smart thing. Look who he tucked in behind.
Zach. Yep.
Because he knows if he gets a bad start and Osborne gets a start, it's going to be a lot harder to run that guy down. It's going to be harder to run him down.
Agreed, Jim Holley.
I think also they're going to have to put, as we're seeing the checkered flag finish up on this first A qualifying session for the 250 class. But I think the Dirtworks and the Feld track crew, I think they're going to have to put a little water on this. And in certain sections, I'm seeing a little bit of dust after these qualifying sessions. They might put a little water down.
We've been pretty blessed with weather so far this year. I remember when they were pumping water out of the season opener in Angel Stadium, and I thought, man, this is a mess. We're definitely gonna have a mutter.
Yeah.
And the weather changed, and it ended up being perfect.
I mean, I think for the first 4 rounds that are on the West Coast here and all open stadiums with El Nino in town, I think that we've done a fabulous job dodging it. You're looking at a guy who did a fabulous job in that first qualifying session. Cooper Webb.
Top 5, Zach Osborne. Cooper Webb, followed by Zach Osborne, Joey Savacci, Christian Craig, Colt Nichols is your 5th fastest qualifier in qualifying A number 1. On down through the top 10, we have Jimmy D, Jimmy Dakotas is 6th, Alex Martin 7th, Jordan Smith 8th, Chris Aldridge 9th.
Taking this fastest qualifying here in round number 1. How different was it to go out there and know that you were on the clock right away?
It was actually a little easier for me. You know, I knew got the track down fast, and I feel like next practice is going to be a little better. So I think just wait to get a little better as everybody kind of gets going and as the track gets a little more broken in. But, you know, the guys did an awesome job. It's not muddy, and I'm stoked on that.
Everyone's talking about the dirt right now. Is there a lot of traction out there when you're out there qualifying?
Yeah, there's a lot of traction. The track's actually really tacky, so it's a little different than what we're used to, but it's good. You know, it makes it different, and I think it's going to be really good tonight.
Do you think you can get any lower than that 55.6 in the next round of qualifying?
Yeah, I think the times will get a little better. Well, there's a couple rhythms I think we can do and changes we can make to the bike. So looking forward to it. But just want to thank the whole Star Racing Yamaha team, Rockstar Energy, Toyota Escondido, Rockstar, just my whole family, friends, everybody. Thank you.
Well, congratulations. Cooper Webb is on top of the leaderboard right now for qualifying number 1.
Well, there he is. He's back. James Stewart taking off the MX versus ATV Supercross Encore starting line. Going to be interesting. He's got, as much talent and speed as anybody in the world. Since he's returned to racing, it's been extraordinarily up and down. He wins the straight rhythm event. He comes out to the Monster Cup and has a misfortune, a mishap there. Goes to Paris Supercross, gets injured. Comes to Anaheim, the season opener, gets into it with Dungey. So it's been a tough road to hoe, but he says he feels good.
And he likes this stadium. I mean, he's won here before. He won in 2011 on a Yamaha. He came back on a Yamaha in 2012. Him and Villapoto, they've kind of run the gamut. Villapoto in 13 and 14, the only two riders that have won here back-to-back times here in Oakland. So, I mean, you look at that. I mean, Ken Trey Kennard backed that up. He was the winner last year. But our old buddy Jimmy Weimer with the paddle tire back in 1979 in the neck race here comes up with the win. And then 1980, Ken Howerton, the only win that Suzuki's got here. So James Stewart can give Suzuki a win here because the only one back in 1980 with Ken Howerton, and then of course Ron Lachine on a Honda back in 1984.
Jim Holley, I want to offer a little trivia with the Jimmy Weiner race. Got second place was Bob Hanna. And a good friend of mine, Chris Neal, is actually here in attendance. I saw him down in the pits. Has the jersey that Bob Hanna wore that night. Bob was so upset because he's like, that guy had a paddle tire. There's no way to beat him.
Yeah.
And Chris ended up with his jersey, and he's kept it all those years, and he has it here at the event today.
Well, and the other thing, too, is that changed. I mean, it was legal to run a paddle tire. After that, no more paddle tires, Jimmy. That's it. No more paddle tires.
In the early going, Dungey setting the pace.
Yeah, and look at Brayton right behind him and Tomac, Alessi, Hahn, Nicoletti, Baggett. Good to see Phil Nicoletti out there because he got off hard last week.
In the whoops, right in front of us, yeah. There's a 3 out of the corner, 3 again.
Oh,
wow.
3 again.
See, the 450s are...
Well, they have the torque, but the other thing they have the advantage of is they got a chance... You talk about it with the 250 guys. They're watching the 450 guys. Don't think that the 450 guys aren't up there watching those 250 guys and going, okay,
I think I can triple that.
I can triple that because I got the more power. One rider we don't have out there, factory KTM rider.
Right, Dean Wilson. Most unfortunate. Just when he was getting it rolling, he won a heat race. He was getting top 10s.
Yep.
I really like Dean Wilson. I like his attitude. It's just those. Oh man, Dungey just got that corner unbelievably good. But
how about Eli Tomac up to the top with a 57.7? So clearly they're a couple seconds off of Webb's time, but this is still early in this practice qualifying session.
Right. And James Stewart jumps up to the top with the 57.1. Not surprising. This is the first time these guys are on the track, and they're already up to race speed in just a few laps. There's Stewart. Back in black. He looks good. You can always tell when James is feeling good with his wheel placement. By that I mean where when he places it on the backside of the jumps, in between the whoops, into the ruts and the corners. He's one of the most technically sound racers I've ever seen.
Yeah, and he wasn't sound in San Diego.
No.
I watched him go around. He was off, and he knew it, and that's why he pulled it in. And I'm glad he sat out last weekend in Anaheim. I'm sure it killed him to sit out, but hey, you're going to be that much better when you come back here to Oakland.
Well, I'm proud of him. He did what he felt was best, and waited till he felt comfortable, waited till he could get, his flow going. And Dungey got his flow going. He jumps up to the top, 56.8. With a little over 5 minutes to go, it's Ryan Dungey, followed by Chad Reed, James Stewart, Eli Tomac, Cole Seeley, your top 5.
Seen a good time with Chad Reed right now, being consistent. He's up into the front here in this first qualifying session. Remember, for you guys listening in, this is the first time they're getting an opportunity to go around the track. They did not have a free practice session due to a rained, shortened schedule.
I was able to speak with Reedy in the pits with Chad Reed, and he said he had a good week. He said he hasn't done much testing at all, and this week he was able to actually do some, and he picked up some gains on the bike. Feels good. He always says bouncy when he's feeling good, and second in the points after 3 rounds. Chasing down that guy.
Well, I think the thing with Reed is, he's been working on his starts. I mean, he's putting himself in a good position. I know Michael Burns over there been helping him with starts.
Yeah, one of the best starters in the business.
Yeah. I know a good friend of mine, Joe Root, helps out Alessi, and Andrew Short, kind of taught Andrew Short how to do that, as we're seeing James Stewart into the pits there. But now Ken Roxon, a 54.8. But, a lot of guys can look back and look at guys and like Joe Root, for instance, and talk to Andrew Short and say, look, I think you can start this thing in third gear. And that was the big thing that Andrew Short was starting in third gear. So, I know Joe Root's been helping out a lot of guys, and see what James Stewart's talking to some of his mechanics about. They're going to make an adjustment on the front of the forks here. So that's going to be the compression, maybe
stiffer,
he wants a little
softer.
Stiffer. Yep, some of the guys come in, and that's basically all they're doing is just the compression and rebound settings, a little softer, a little stiffer, slow down the rebound, speed up the rebound. So obviously James Stewart wasn't happy with something, he wanted to make a change.
I bet you he stiffened him up with the ruts and the softer dirt, and going into the stroke a little bit more with the forks. He probably added a little bit of compression.
Well, you talk about those big jumps. I mean, yeah, I want to stiffen this thing up. I'm blowing right through the suspension, and I'm hurting my wrist on landing. Let's turn a couple clicks in on the compression. Let me see if that helps out.
At the top, Kenny Roxon. He had the 2015 championship right in the palm of his hand in the first 3 rounds. Comes to Oakland, makes a mistake, slams into the triple, and that really derailed his championship. This is a good opportunity for him to kind of get some redemption at this event.
Yeah, but I thought that, even after that mistake in Oakland, he came back San Diego, he finished second behind Kennard. Yeah. I thought he was going, but the dagger that really set him down was Atlanta.
Atlanta, yeah. It was tough, though. And who knows if he would have won that race. Reed dove to the inside, and Kenny at the last minute pulled the trigger on the triple.
But one thing you don't see is that's the reason why that man's got that red background with that big #1 plate.
You don't make those mistakes.
He doesn't make those mistakes. I've never seen Dungey will not ride over his head, where some of these other kids will ride over their head or they'll let other things. Ryan's okay. I mean, hey, if I get a third or a fourth, I'm good. I'm all right.
I don't know about a fourth. It's been a long time since he's been off the podium. And actually on us,
19 weekends, right?
We had a poll on supercrosslive.com that Brandon Williams put up, and asking how long his streak's going to last throughout the season or the next couple races. But if you're in Vegas and you're a gambling man, I wouldn't count on him to miss the podium anytime soon.
Well, the other thing that he's got a little bit is he's going to come in and talk to the MMI graduate Carlos Rivera's mechanic. Carlos has got the signboard up there, so Dungey knows where he's at, and some of the other guys are going to point over and say, "Hey, look, we're driving this." And watch out, James. Who was that just
I think it was Alex Ray.
Was it Alex Ray?
Giving the business a little bit, the stew.
But, getting back to Ryan Dungey, is he's got a 13-point lead already. 3 rounds in.
They need to do something about that quick.
And Dungey's okay. If I get a second or a third, I can give up a couple points. And if Kenny Roxon decides that, hey, this is the night that I'm going to win one, well, Kenny Roxon, I got a 21-point lead on him, so I'm only going to lose 3 points. So, Dungey's not going to do anything stupid to put himself in a bad position.
And transversely, these other guys have to win. They need to win. Tomac needs to win. Roxon needs to win. Anderson's already won. You can't forget, Jason Anderson won the season opener, and he also backed it up with 2 top 5s. Hasn't had the best of starts. Don't count out Jason Anderson, the Lobo.
No, he knows he's won one this year. The opener, he's just kind of had some bad starts also.
Yeah.
James Stewart kind of going around, checking things out, just kind of. I like how easy it is to do that big double. Just grab a handful of throttle.
It's good to have James back. The most polarizing racer we've ever seen in our sport.
He's actually going to come in and talk to his mechanic again. So let's see if they go immediately back to the forks. You're going to see the suspension guy. And
say, do you like it? Do you not like it? Right. But back to James, a fan or not a fan, he makes the races more interesting every single time number 7's on the starting line. You can't argue that.
Phil Nicoletti there with Dungey getting by him. And I noticed everybody going to that outside to carry that momentum so they can carry that speed through that left-hander.
Time running out.
6, 5, 4.
Count them down,
It's
Jim.
over. It's over. Kenny Roxon's going to come away with that fast time with a 54.8 and a 54.9
Stewart
for James
was
Stewart.
right there.
And look at Anderson.
Right. 54.8, a 54.9 for Stewart. Dungey jumps up to third. Jason Anderson fourth. Chad Reed fifth. Marvin Muskin, well, Cole Seeley sixth, Marvin Muskin seventh, and Jake Weimer on his new Soaring Eagle Jimmy John's RCH Suzuki. First ride for them, qualifying in 8th position so far. So we're going to see if Lurch is going to go down and talk to Roxon and get an interview. But
and Chad Reed back at it, top 5.
Looks like Roxon might sneak another lap in here.
Dungey sneaked in there with a 55.3 to take third.
That's the way they qualified out of this session. Remember, they've got a full
Anderson
10
fourth.
minutes plus coming back to qualify.
Well, these guys are close.
Watching Kenny Roxon going around the track. Got a bonus lap. Looks good.
Yeah, he's trying something different right now. You know, he's got that extra bonus lap, like you said. You know, he gets a chance to kind of do something. He's not on the clock, but he might have saw something different.
And Lurch should be waiting to talk to Kenny over there. Sometimes they'll grab second place. Kenny throws it sideways over the finish line. Once again, the top 5 in the first qualifying for 450A. Roxon, Stewart, Dungey, Anderson, Reed. It's pretty nasty top 5.
Yeah, 54.8 just for Kenny Roxon there. And
Christoph Porcel up to 6th. Yeah, they're directing Roxon up there.
There's his mechanic, Oscar Wiedemann there, telling him to go up there. Hey, get up there and talk to Lurch.
A great time for the Soaring Eagle Jimmy John Suzuki rider of Ken Roxon. Ken, obviously the start of the 2016 season, a lot of ups and downs, but I know you're the kind of guy that doesn't want to sit back and look at last week. You always focus on what's ahead of you. And tell me about your week coming into here, obviously ready to just win every single night you line up on the starting gate.
Yeah, of course. I had another great week, so nothing to complain about there. Feeling really good. You know, the track's really soft out there and pretty rough right now, so it's going to be an interesting night. It's going to be tough. You know, there's a lot of ruts there already. But I don't know. I feel good. I got this win right now, and I mean, it's always good to get back to the truck from practice being first. So,
you know, let's talk about it. Is there such a thing as too much traction on a Supercross track?
You know, traction's always good, but it's really loamy right now. You can see there's a lot of bumps, and the whoops are really grabby, you know, so that makes it a lot different than it usually is. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Dirtworks crew is going to do a good job for tonight. They're going to reshape everything, and but yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to let him head back to the truck. Let's hear it one more time for the 94 RCH Soaring Eagle Jimmy John Suzuki ride, Ken Roxon.
Thanks a lot, Lurch. We're coming back right now.
Okay, it's time for the second REM Fantasy segment. Let's go to it. Okay, after watching that, I think I'm gonna go with Kenny Roxon, Chad Reed, James Stewart. Those are my top 3.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, you have to look at, you know, what we saw there with Kenny Roxon up front and James Stewart. I think James Stewart could be on the podium tonight. I'm going to go with James Stewart, maybe possibly on the podium. But let's look at it and see what happens on that second qualifying session.
Right.
Let's see if those guys are up there. And it's good to see Anderson and Reed and Dungey up there.
Absolutely. Right. Well, remember to go to rmfantasysx.com and get signed up. Coming up next, we're going to have Christian Craig. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Amsoil. Let nothing stand between you and a great day of riding. Protect your weekend. Choose Amsoil synthetic lubricants for your bike and your truck.
DC Shoes is proud to be the official footwear sponsor of 2016 Monster Energy Supercross. DC, defying convention since 1994. Check out our latest products at journeys.com.
Motorcycle Mechanics Institute wants to give you a 2016 Kawasaki Teryx 4LE side-by-side. Go to www.winthatride.com to enter for your chance to win. Oakley is proud to be the official eyewear sponsor of Monster Energy Supercross. Follow us at Oakley Motorsports and at Oakley on Instagram and Twitter.
Sponsored by Yamaha, from world-leading motocross, supersport, and cruiser motorcycles to ATVs, side-by-sides, generators, and more, Yamaha revs your heart.
There's a lot of performance hidden in these tires. These tires are insanely good. Selected as a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. If this is what experts thought about Cooper tires, imagine what you'll have to say. They're impressive on all surfaces. Put Cooper tires on your car today.
Consistent clutch feel is vital to effective starts or to confidently maneuver around obstacles on the trail. Amsoil synthetic dirt bike oil was subjected to an extreme simulated start test. After 32 simulated race starts, Amsoil synthetic dirt bike oil continued to deliver consistent clutch feel, and the clutch plates remain clean with no visible wear. Amsoil synthetic dirt bike oil. Out front performance.
We're for guys who like to make things go faster, higher, farther. Guys who want to be the top tech, get the W, and stand on the podium. Teams want you. Riders need you. Because without you, the bike stays in the pit, and championships aren't won. Top motorcycle manufacturers help build MMI's programs so you can get the education you need to achieve success. That's why top teams hire MMI grads. We're for success, your success. Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. To learn more, visit mmitech.edu.
Get ready for RM Fantasy SX, the ultimate Monster Energy Supercross Fantasy Challenge from RockyMountainATVMC.com. We're giving away over $100,000 in prizes, and it's completely free to enter. Top season prizes include a brand new 2016 Toyota Tacoma, round-trip tickets with hotel to fly you and a guest to Rocky Mountain ATVMC to pick up your brand new customized FMF, KX450F, or KX250F. There's also a VIP trip for two to see the 2016 Monster Energy Cup in Las Vegas. 4th through 10th place season winners will be awarded prizes from Pirelli, GGR, Dunlop, Alpine Stars, DC, and others. Weekly prizes will be awarded from major brands. Just sign up on our secure game site, make your picks, and even get into group play to get your game on. And for more details, sign up today at rmfantasysx.com. For ages 18 and older.
I just woke up one day and it clicked, and I'm like, I'm not just gonna be someone that rode a dirt bike and that tried. I'm gonna become the best. To be the best, it takes sacrifice, it takes a dream and a drive.
Striving to be the best, it's super critical to have a strong team behind you and a strong motorcycle. Being the best is everything, you know, that's what you want. It's where you want to be.
It all just comes down to how much passion you have for the sport.
Bike is everything to be the best.
Never give up, chase your dream, and if you work hard now and you sacrifice and you do what you're supposed to do, you can live the rest of your life as a champion.
The Yamaha Champion YZ450F and multi-champion YZ250F.
Rainbow Studios. Are you ready for more? MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore. The off-road legend returns with the next generation of graphics. Set yourself up with all new gear and bikes. Tear up the track in outdoor nationals and waypoint races. Meet up and explore in freeride. And for the first time ever, rhythm racing. Available now.
Your journey to work, to play, to see places you've never seen before. It's not where you're riding, it's who you're riding with.
I'm Juliana Daniel, Miss Supercross 2016, and you're watching Race Day Live.
And welcome back to O.Co Coliseum here in Oakland, California. I have a very special guest, Geico Honda's Christian Craig. Welcome to Race Day Live, man.
Good to see you, Christian.
You know, Christian, I just want to talk about last weekend. You know, you were out of the sport for a while. You close your eyes, you open them, and you're leading Anaheim. And you got Cooper Webb right on you, and you're going back and forth. You could hear the crowd. Take us back to that.
Yeah, leading up to it, I wanted to do that A1, obviously. Everybody wants to, but I had to shake the rust off. The first 2 rounds went rough for me. And then going into that race, I'm like, I just got to get a start and stay up there. You know, that guy is beatable. And, yeah, I got the start, passed for the lead right away, and put my laps down. All day, though, I was struggling with my breathing. A lot of people were like, did you get tired? But I'm in shape. Like, I'm strong. It was just my breathing. It was my lungs, and I usually find my breathing points on the track, and last week I couldn't. So that was why I think I was making some mistakes towards the end, and Cooper reeled me in, and we battled for a little bit, and that was fun.
Well, where was the mechanic on that? You're supposed to say breathe, man.
Yeah, but the way the mechanics were, I was too focused on turning to where I didn't look at the board one lap. So, no, I was focused on leading.
They didn't put it on the crossbar pad or the tank breathe, you know?
Usually that's not a problem for me.
Yeah.
Usually I'm fine with all that, and that day, the whole day I was just struggling with breathing. So it worked out, though. Got in the lead, and I saw Cooper coming for a little bit, and I knew he was a little bit faster than me in some sections. And I was like, you know, I'm not going to let him pass me that easy. So put up a fight for it. I kind of did roadblock him a little bit, but that is racing. And, you know, whatever happens, happens. So no, it was good.
I mean, don't beat yourself up. I thought that racing between you and him went back and forth. I think that was excellent racing. You guys, you know, went in, and you guys were both smart enough that when you see a rider out of the corner of your eye come in, you lift up, you let that guy make the pass, and you square back underneath him. I thought that was great racing back and forth.
Yeah, I tried to keep it clean. I mean, obviously I wanted to stay in the lead as long as possible, and I made it to lap 10. And then he pushed me into the bales, and it was smart of him. It stopped my momentum from in his section, and right there it was over. So right there I was riding the 5 laps out pretty much, and was just, all right, just podium it out, and we'll go from here. So
well, and you mentioned once he got by you, then now you got to deal with Osborne because he starts putting the pressure on you.
Yeah, me and Cooper were gone. I felt like we had a big gap on Zach, and then when we started battling, he was right up on us. And I watched the race when I got home, and I'm like, man, maybe I should have let him by, and I should have got on his back wheel, and we could have pulled away even more, and I could have ended up with second, or maybe got him back. So, but whatever, you learn. And I just wanted that lead. Everybody wants first and to beat, you know, whoever's winning, and that's Cooper at the time. And you know, we still got tonight.
That's right. We have today. That's what I wanted to ask you about. You just came off the track. We had a lot of rain in the days leading up to this, but it looks pretty good. But how is the track out there, Christian?
Yeah, for how much rain this place has got, I've been looking at the rain the past couple weeks, and it's just like every day it rains, and I'm like, man, it's going to be tough. So today we got lucky. It's supposed to be a clear day, a little cloudy, but the dirt is actually pretty good. It's normal Oakland where there's some soft spots, and it's going to get rutted. Obviously, you can see some ruts there. And no, it's going to make for some good racing. I think the track guys will put some good track prep into it, and the heat races will be good.
Tell me what these guys we're seeing behind us. It's the 450 Group B, the first time they're having an opportunity to get out onto this track because you guys didn't have. We're now at a split screen now. So what are these guys dealing with? Because you didn't have no free practice out there. It's just you got to start laying down some times. And I got to think that some of these guys are tightening up a little bit early because you're not relaxing into this qualifying.
Yeah, I think it's tough for the unseated guys. Obviously, the seated guys, we get the sections down pretty quick, and we get the good pace. We set the pace. So for these guys, they're dealing with a beat up track right now, especially the 450s. And no, it's tough. The whoops are small, but you drop your front end in there, and you almost go over the bars. So. You know, these guys are riding tight. I feel like because they have to push the envelope already, they don't have a free practice to try to get the jumps down. And it's tough, but, you know, this is part of it.
Well, this one's almost finishing up, about 9 seconds, 8 we see. But Jeff Alessi, he came back. He had a little bit of a hiatus there. He kind of took a little bit of time off. Something that you did.
Yeah.
You said, hey, you know what? I've had too many injuries. I'm starting a family. You went to work in construction in Minnesota, and I saw you at a couple of the Anaheims there. And, you said, man, I think I left something on the table where some of the guys at construction go, Kristen, what are you doing here swinging a hammer with us, man? You need to be twisting the throttle.
Yeah, it was a crazy decision at first, I would say. People are like, what are you 23? You got so much more time on a dirt bike. And I'm like, I'm sitting there with a broken wrist, hurt back.
Right.
And every time I got on the bike, I would get hurt again. So I'm like, you know what? It's time to step away. Stepped away for a couple of years, got a job, got married, had a kid, and I'm happy I did all that. It wasn't like I regret it now. It made me realize how much harder I could have worked in the past, and now how much harder I work right now. So, yeah, being in the stands the past couple of years was fun at first, but it was tough watching, you know, the guys get the success that they are when that could be me, and then, you know, finally made the decision last summer to make a comeback, and I knew when I got the call up from Geico that I'm going to give it my all, and whatever happens, but it's been good so far, and I plan to keep it on track.
Well, you look like you're having fun. It looks like your team is happy to have you. You're doing well. The bike looks like it's working good for you. But we want to thank you for coming on Race Day Live and joining us. We want to wish you good luck tonight. We want to see you down there on that podium with your son again. I mean, that's cool. But real quick before we go.
His son's not here. He didn't bring him. He's got the weekend off. He's with Grandma, right?
Yeah, I even got Pulpamex. Steve Mathis even talked crap on me. Right. I'm going to call him out, but he was like, he was like, why would a 250 guy bring a kid up there? That doesn't look right. And I'm like, you know what? It's whatever. My dad did that when in San Diego one year, and I remember it. Yeah. But I might have been older than Jagger is right now, but I remember looking up at the screen and seeing myself, and that's something you remember, and it's something Jagger will see here in a couple of years when he realizes he was on the podium. So I'm going to bring him up there as much as possible.
And your father-in-law, he was taking pictures. I said, get up there. He goes, no, and then he went up there. I go, those are moments that you want to keep for a lifetime.
Exactly. Pictures, videos, and it's fun. It's awesome.
Well, good luck tonight. Meanwhile, Miss Mayra Tinajero is down in the pit. She had this week's Toyota Tailgate segment. Let's go check it out.
Welcome to another Toyota Tailgate Talk. Now, every week we like to take you guys behind the scenes of the Monster Energy Pit Party and everything that's happening at Supercross, so you guys can get a feel as to what's going on. This week, we're at the official merchandise booth with Jamie Morbido. Now, Jamie, you guys have been really busy. Tell me what's going on here.
Yeah, we've been here since noon, open to the pits, and we've had all the people come in. And earlier it was T-shirts, and now tonight it's getting a little cool, so the sweatshirts are really taking off.
Hey guys, it looks like you picked up some swag. Now tell me, what did you get?
Go ahead, Brendan.
Beanies. Beanie.
That sweatshirt looks a little bit big. Who'd you get that for?
My dad.
Tell me what you picked up at the official merchandise booth.
I picked up a Trey Canard hat.
Is he your favorite rider?
Yes.
And he's going to win tonight, right?
Yes.
And did you do a lot of chores to get some money to buy that sweatshirt?
Yes.
Aside from T-shirts and sweatshirts, what other kind of swag can people pick up at the booths?
We have rider hats and Monster Supercross hats, programs and toys, blankets, almost anything that you'd want.
And what is the top seller?
Right now it's going to be the sweatshirts for sure.
Okay, so what did you pick up at the official merchandise booth?
I just got a Ken Roczen t-shirt.
So he must be your favorite?
Yeah.
What did you pick up?
I picked up a Ryan Dungey shirt, a Chad Reed hat.
And you got to get that shirt on before the night show, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is there a specific rider that's, a top seller in merchandise?
Yeah, Dungey's pretty hot right now, definitely.
Well, no doubt, since he is the reigning champion.
Yeah.
All right, so aside from, picking up some merchandise when people come to the races, where else can they go to pick some up?
You can go online, if you can't get it here, to supercrosslive.com and look at all the merchandise online and get it there.
Okay, so with having the official merchandise booth and the website supercrosslive.com to pick up your official merchandise, there's no excuse to not be decked out when you hit the races.
Well, that was Miss Mayra down there, the merchandise trailer, having a lot of fun. They got some good products down there,
They do. I mean, we got our mugs here, and, this is a pretty cool tires and a piston and rod there. And they got a lot of great things down there.
Absolutely. And one of the themes we had last week was babies on bikes. And a lot of people sent us some photos in, and pretty cool, like Christian's got a baby, and, Reed's got 3 of them. But it was really neat. We're going to show you some of the photos from that coming up here in a little bit. There we go.
How cute.
Yeah, at Tay, babies on bikes there. There's Keith Sayers.
He's actually riding.
Yeah,
He's got a helmet on, And that's a proud grandfather there.
Pop-Pop's new baby there on a Yamaha. Look at those girls.
Moto Nick there,
237.
Yeah.
There's our little 6-month-old there, Scott Samstell.
He's got good technique already.
Oh, boy.
Here's Andy.
Man, you guys are going to get me choked up 2 weeks in a row. It's little Scarlet right there. But got to thank Christy Cannon and Miss Teresa for getting that onesie put together. And she's doing good, eating and sleeping and just like clockwork. So we're super blessed.
You're changing a lot of diapers, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Changing lots of diapers and getting a little bit of sleep at night. But, you know, just thinking about coming to the Supercross races, you don't need sleep. I'm getting so fired up to be here to, you know, sit next to you, Jim. And we're on the Jumbotron right now, so if you folks are in ODOT Coliseum, go ahead and give us a wave. And, yeah, I hope you're having a good time. The sun kind of peeked around behind the clouds, but it's been out all day long. It's got this track in perfect condition, Jim Holley.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the fans here. You know, what a great opportunity to come out here and see the track and watch that first qualifying session here. And no rain, so that's a good thing. And everyone's going to stay dry tonight and get a chance to see the Feld Motorsports dirt crew out there working the track, getting it ready there. There's a few of our fans right there listening in. Want to say hi to all the fans here in Oakland.
Absolutely. And this week our theme is going to be Ask RDL. Hashtag Ask RDL, Race Day Live. And ask us any questions, myself, Jim, or Mayra, and anything from bikes to technical questions to the way the tracks work out to the way the pits are set up. Anything you want to know about Monster Energy Supercross, hashtag Ask RDL. And we'll put you on the Jumbotron next week in Glendale in Phoenix, Arizona.
And later on, we're going to read some of them that Brandon tweeted out. He showed me a couple
Mr.
questions.
Brandon Williams.
So I think we got 2 or 3 questions we're going to be answering, the people who, you know, hashtagged in last weekend.
Right. So, Jim Holley, we had the 450A guys out there, and Kenny Roczen was the fastest. Were you surprised about that?
No, not really. I mean, look at what he did. Kenny, I think this year here, what's been keeping him from on that podium is his starts. He got a podium last week, but you got to remember, if you're Kenny Roczen, you're looking at that and you said, look, I had a little help to get on that podium with Eli Tomac going down, losing that front end. So, you know, as a rider, Andy, you know as well as I do, you look at that and you go, yeah, I'm on the podium, but yeah, I really wasn't on the podium because I had help.
Right.
So Kenny wants to come out here and he wants to make a statement that, hey, I am fast and I just need to get a start. And then I was, you know, to be honest, I was really surprised James Stewart second there. He's been off the bike for a while, and he got a chance to have some good practice in. I talked to Mike Webb and the guys down there at the Yoshimura Suzuki, and matter of fact, yesterday we went over there to try and talk to him. I go, where's Mike at? He says, no, he's not here. Him and James and Blake, they're still riding in L.A. So James is going to be ready tonight. And like I said, he's a 2-time winner here. Him and Villapoto, the only guys to do it here in Oakland. So we'll see. I mean, he's got something to prove. He's on a Suzuki. Last time a Suzuki won here, 1980, Kent Howerton. So, I mean, we'll see. And, you know, that brings up one of the old-timers, the Alex Moros, the legend of heroes, Donnie Cantalupi getting honored here tonight. Yeah, NorCal guy getting honored. So that'll be cool for Donnie.
Right, and another guy, you know, when we're looking at those fantasy picks, a wild card that you might want to start thinking about, Weston Peick. Got on the podium last year, but his season got off to a little bit of an inauspicious start, a little bit of a fisticuffs going on there, but come to find out, Weston actually knows what he's doing in the gym. Let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Someone once said the road to glory is paved with suffering. Even so, Weston Peick wouldn't change a thing.
From 2010 to 2014 went by, and like it was like this huge blur of what am I doing? I'm racing 3 or 4 different brand motorcycles and asking any and everybody for small amounts of money here and there, or just selling stuff that you didn't want to sell to get money to race.
'Cause I've been down, buried under the ground, far away from the sea.
When I was really struggling and really had no money, it was like I was sitting there building my own motors, you know, replacing the parts that needed to be done. And there's a lot of stuff that I, you know, I'd always done hands-on and had to do myself. I would race half the year, the whole year, how many ever races I did, and then I would finish the season with no money. My dad had already blown all of his money on me racing. I actually borrowed money coming into 2012 to go racing.
Boy, and Weston Peick just keeps impressing everybody, not on a factory bike.
I've just been so impressed with how Weston Peick, getting the job done.
The toughest part was definitely that anger of like when you're beating people with what you have and they have a factory ride or they have a ride and they keep just overlooking you. The competitors that I raced with, or even like the people that worked in the industry that were like, oh man, just keep hanging on, it'll come, but it was like, it's not happening, what am I doing wrong? You didn't know what to do. You're like emotionally like, do I quit?
He's at a 7th, 2 5ths, trying to land another top 5 finish here.
You know, I look back, like my parents have sold everything they've had to get me to succeed to that point. So it's like, definitely the quitting was going through my mind a few times, but then, you know, luckily I had people that would last minute throw in money and support the program to get me to the next stage of struggle.
Finally, last season, Joe Gibbs Racing gave Peick the chance of a lifetime.
I go to the inside, goes the Yamaha rider.
And he is hungry. Weston Peick feels like he's ready to challenge for a win.
A lot of these kids that are coming up these days don't have that hard, true grit like you have to go broke to show people that, like, that side that, like, you're not going to give up and you're going to do whatever you possibly can to get to the top spot.
He came out of the gate with some serious aggression, and he fought for it.
So cool to see Weston in this position.
Well, we've said
so
it for the last few years. Somebody needs to give him a shot, and he's making the most of it.
You've almost died, you know, slaying yourself to get to this point. And fighters, they come up from nothing and just, you know, grind. And I was scraping for what I needed, and then, you know, finally you have that first big accomplishment for them would be a fight, and then they win, and then they kind of name gets bigger and bigger. So in the same sense, it's kind of that same feeling.
Good story of perseverance there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's, you know, a lot of people, a lot of privateers, that's how you get started. And yeah, I mean, at one point, you know, you heard him, Kristen Craig was on, he said, you know, I quit, I left something on the table, and a lot of people were telling Weston Peick, no, you got to keep sticking with it. I know Buddy Antonez is one of those guys that say, look, you got to keep sticking with it. You stick with it long enough. Right. Success will come, and it was great to see him have success. I remember that race in Phoenix when he was running down Dungey, but then all of a sudden he had some more adversity, breaks his foot, and then he's off again. So, right. But Weston's, you know, I think now it's starting to roll. But last weekend, like you said, he got into it with Brayton and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if Brayton got a chance to see that. I think if I'm looking at that, I think, well, you know, Weston, yeah, go ahead, I'm good.
Right. No, those guys are tough. Weston's tough. You know, the key title there is never give up, and he never gave up. He achieved his dream of being a factory supercross racer. And another guy that's never gave up is a guy who's back. James Stewart is back here for round 4. He's had a tough beginning to his season, but he's back. He was fast in qualifying. We were able to speak to him today down there in the pits. Miss Mayra Tinajero caught up with him. Here's what he had to say.
Mayra Tinajero with Race Day Live presented by Amsoil. I'm here talking to James Stewart. Now, James, it's great to have you back. The fans are so excited, but I think they want to hear it directly from you. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. You know, obviously I've had a couple weeks off after A1. I tried around San Diego, but yeah, I feel pretty good. I like this place here in Oakland. Just going to try my best and just kind of ease back into it, and kind of like I was trying to do at A1, and you know, see what happens. So the head's fine. You know, just be all out here, just trying to get out here and race.
And now you've had a full week back on the bike, correct?
Yeah, I've had 6 days on the bike. I rode a couple days right before Anaheim, and still didn't feel that right. And then every day I ride, I get better. So you know, it's just now trying to go out here and get some laps in, and then I think as the season goes on, I'll get better and better.
Well, as the season progresses, you know, you're kind of developing, getting back into riding and whatnot. But how have your goals changed, you know, as, you know, the season has started out kind of on an unfortunate note?
Well, I mean, I think ultimately, like, you know, the fact I haven't raced, you know, for a while. So, you know, unfortunately, you know, I think I should be 4 weeks into this. I'm, you know, basically going back in the first week. So, you know, my goals are really kind of the same, you know, just get back out here and just kind of be easy with it and try to get in here. So, obviously, you know, depends on how I feel. You know, hopefully I have a chance to win. But, you know, realistically, just to go out there and try to have some fun.
Well, it's great to have you back. I know the fans are pumped, and we're all pumped. So, good to see you in Oakland, James.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So the big number 7 of James Stewart's back here for round 4. Jim Holley was second in the first 450A qualifying group. How's he going to do tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you heard him. He says, look, I want to have some fun with it. You know, obviously the championship's out of his reach right now with, with the injuries that he's had and, missing rounds. But you got to look at it. He hasn't completed a race yet. I mean, you got to go back to October. The Monster Energy Cup, he didn't complete. Anaheim, he didn't complete. He tried to come down in San Diego, didn't ride there, didn't ride. So I think that you heard him say that, look, I just want to come into this thing and I want to start off slowly. And, I think if he doesn't get on the podium and if he finishes a 5th, he's going to go, man, I'm happy.
Right.
I finished 20 laps and I'm good. Now I got something to build on. And, but he's a racer, and we saw that in him when he came out there and he finished second. He was just a tick off of Kenny Roxon's time. And James is fast, that's for sure.
Right, and he's really been messing up people's fantasy picks this year, but he's back and he can actually put a big gain on you, because if he gets in the podium or wins this thing, he was second fastest in qualifying. James Stewart, never count out James Stewart, one of the most amazing riders that's ever ridden a Supercross track in history. But speaking of fantasy, I think didn't you talk to the big guy, Ray Butts?
Yeah, Ray Butts, we did. I went down there and talked to him, and I mean that's what he comes up with, and he's changing things next year. I mean, I look for bigger and better things from the RM Fantasy Supercross, and it's just interesting to watch how all that, because me, Andy, I still got my flip phone. Computers, they really scare me.
Right.
But just how easy it is to, it's user friendly. How to access that, and I like how he has the wild card and stuff. I mean, he adds a lot of things to it.
Right. Well, I tell you what I like is they're going to give away their grand prize is a Toyota Tacoma, and the other prizes is a raced out 450 and a 250. But we talked to Ray. Let's go hear what he had to say.
This thing is off the hook. The rmfantasysx.com website here, we saw a lot of the kids coming over here and signing up at the race.
Yeah. We have these kiosks here at the race that you can come over and sign up. You just go in with your account, pick your name, put in your name and password, make your picks. Works awesome, though. I mean, throw in whoever you think's going to be in the top 5, get your wild card, and go get some points.
You mentioned the wild card. That wild card, each and every week, it's different. Like, some weeks you could pick who's going to get 7th or 8th or 11th or 12th or whatever. It moves all around each and every week.
Yeah, I mean, that was by design. I mean, everyone talks about the guys on the podium every weekend, right? So what we wanted to do is throw a little element out there and mix it up to where any of the riders in the top 20 could potentially, get talked about and get some mention in the game.
And those prizes again, I mean, a Toyota Tacoma for first place, a prepped 450 Kawasaki, a 250 race prepped 250F also.
Yeah, there's also trips to Monster Energy Cup in the fall. We got a trip out to JGR that Pirelli's throwing their way. There's Dunlop for a year. I mean, there's packages from DC Shoes and Alpine Stars. I mean, there's all kinds of awesome prizes.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Ray, but isn't there a trip out to your guys' home in Utah?
Yeah. So the winners of the bikes, the 450 and 250, we're going to bring them out and have like a big soiree with them and give them the whole VIP treatment and award the bikes there and then ship them to their house.
Mayra, she got a chance to interview some of the fans here in the party in the pits, and their picks they're so interesting, and a lot of the people were telling me that this is so user friendly.
Yeah, it's super simple. I mean, you just throw in, you got like drop downs, you can pull in whoever you're going to win, whoever you're going to choose, but super simple. You put in the 6, but there is some pointers in there. You can pull up live timing and a few things like that to help you out if you're confused on where everyone's at. But yeah, I mean, we tried to make it super user friendly. There's the group, you can join a group in it, and in the group you can message each other and kind of razz each other, give each other a hard time and talk trash. That's always fun too.
Well, Ray, thank you for taking your time out of your busy day, and for you people watching, make sure you sign up, rmfantasysx.com. A lot of good prizes each and every week.
I'm out here at the Monster Energy pit party at the Rocky Mountain ATV MC setup, and I found me a fan that has signed up for the RM Fantasy SX. So what do you think now that you're signed up?
I think it's a great thing that Rocky Mountain's doing. It's really just bringing the fans closer and just kind of getting more involved, which I think the sport needs. So it's really cool of them to step up and really bring in some cool prizes and stuff like that. So it's good.
You've signed up for the RM Fantasy SX, right?
Yes, I have. I like it a lot.
And who's your top 3 picks?
I'd like to see Anderson win, and then maybe Ken Roxon. He's been struggling this year, so hopefully he can do some good stuff.
You know, I'm going to have to go with Dungey. He's just too consistent. So I think Dungey, and I'd like to see Anderson get up maybe behind him, and then Seeley for sure. I like to see Seeley up there.
They also have this really cool option to throw in a wild card pick. Who did you put in that spot?
I put Jake Weimer. He's been riding good, so I'd like to see him get a top 10 this week. I believe it's 8th, so I think he can do it.
You know, I actually put Trey Kennard in there.
What are you looking to snag out of the top 3 prizes?
I'd like to win that 450. That'd be the way to go.
I mean, I have my own dirt bike, so a truck would be nice.
It's always a good time out here at the Monster Energy.
Well, this is round 4
for the RM Fantasy SX and pick your picks and get to winning.
What's up, guys? Chase here at Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and it is time for Fantasy Supercross. If you played Fantasy Supercross last year, the gameplay for this year is going to feel very similar. However, we have made some big changes to scoring that we think you guys are going to love. For 2016, we'll be giving away over $100,000 in prizes. Our grand prize will be the all-new 2016 Toyota Tacoma. We also have a brand new Race Prep KX 450F and a KX 250F for our first and second place winners. We have got a ton of other prizes that we're going to be giving away as well. We've also got weekly prizes for our top 10 winners, so if you get a late start to the season, it's not a big deal. You will still have plenty of chances to win. To start playing, simply go to www.rmfantasysx.com and create an account. RM Fantasy SX is fun, it is easy to play, and it makes Monster Energy Supercross even more exciting, so make sure you sign up and start today.
And welcome back to Race Day Live here at O.Co Coliseum. Joining us right now is David Knudsen from MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore. Welcome to Race Day Live.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you, David.
It's great to be here.
You know, the video game's doing fantastically. We've had Stefan Roncada on here. We had Michael Mamula, really good guys. And it just seems like you guys are having a lot of fun and having an amazing product.
Oh, we're having a blast, and we're having a blast coming out here every week, getting to talk about the game and showing off our tracks and all the hard work that we've done over the last couple years. So
right.
Thanks for having us out.
Well, me and Jim have a big matchup, set up next week.
Next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to smoke him. I think I've been practicing quite a bit.
Well, Steph has some get good tips he put on our Facebook page a
Okay.
little while ago, just to give
you
you guys a little cheater tips.
Okay, how do I get to that?
It's MX vs. ATV official. Just do a search on Facebook, and it'll pull it up on the page, and go to our video section, and you can hear Steph tell you how to ride and take the inside whoops and do a couple tricks.
Perfect. I need to go to that website.
Yeah.
The other thing that I really enjoyed is when we earlier in the show we go over our Kawasaki track map, and we used to just have an arrow go around the track, but you guys were instrumental in putting in a bike.
Yeah, Mike Mamula has been doing the Green Arrow track maps with you guys for a few years, and then he's dropped it into the game to see how it would work with our physics and your guys' tracks, and it looks really good. So we're really excited to be a part of that.
Right, and you've been watching practice, and you're a big fan.
Yes.
Who are your picks for tonight?
For tonight, 250 Cooper Webb threw
Yeah.
down to 55.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty impressive. I think he's going to be pretty unbeatable. And then Savaki still looks pretty good. And then Christian Craig.
Right.
On the 250s. 450s, I think Dungey, Roxon, Stewart, he's back this week. I think he's going to be hungry and look really good out there.
I agree with you. I went with Stewart in my top 3, and I think Reed's going to be up there again. The elder statesmen of that 450 SX class, I think, are going to be tough tonight.
Yes.
And then, of course, Ryan Dungey. But
yeah, he's done a great season so far. So I think he's going to continue on.
The thing that interests me is when these guys came out, you got to remember that we're on a shortened program. There was no free practice. These guys come out for that first qualifying session, and they just just started hucking everything, and I'm just going, I'm just amazed at how well they're doing.
Yeah, we were surprised when we showed up today that they were walking the track and it was afternoon. So yeah, they're on a compressed time and they're still throwing out some impressive laps out there.
Right, yeah, the track looks great. The sun shines on the track right now. That's going to contribute to it being perfect tonight. But we want to go ahead and take a look at your game, and we want to do the hot lap. Are you ready to do the hot lap?
Let's do the hot lap.
David, take us around on the track.
Okay, so this week this is Manchester. This is one of our DLC tracks. It's a hard pack, dry track, unlike this week.
Right.
And you see, we had Stefan do this hot lap because I can't keep up with him. We picked this one because well, you can see the ruts are pretty big and deep, kind of reminded us of Anaheim last week. That's me when I try to keep up with Steph and Mike on the track.
Looks like he's on a Husky. I see the colors. Looks like Husqvarna colors.
He is.
Out there.
That's one of the bikes that you can pick up for DLC. We have Husqvarna and KTM's available for Encore right now. We're going to be coming out with the rest of the models here in the next couple months, so everybody can pick up their favorite ride and equip it.
Something I need to know, because next week I'm going head-to-head against Andy there. But I notice when they're up in the air, they kind of tap the rear brake, get the front end to go down. How do I do that? Is that with my thumb, right?
It's just your left triggers your brake, your right triggers your gas, and then we have a preload, which is kind of like a seat bounce where you can compress the springs up on the face of the jump. Help get you a little bit of air. We also have the clutch too, help get you out of some tricky situations.
Something I see like with you and Mike and Stefan when you're doing, I really don't see you guys over jumping things. I have a problem. I might be over jumping a few things.
Yeah, that's.
Is there any way I can slow that down? Just my trigger, right? Just my throttle?
Absolutely. Just it's throttle control, just like in real life. So you might have to let off a little bit coming up on some of the jumps, or some of them you might need to take wide open.
Now Stefan was just showing off there, right? Just kind of wheeling over the whoops right there.
Yeah, that was Steph just kind of throwing a little ode out there. So showing me that that's something I can't do when I try to play this.
You know what I really like about the game is I like about all the graphics around there, the sponsorship banners. I mean, in years past, you would see the guys out there and just that. But, I mean, it's like real life out there. You got sponsorships everywhere and things like that.
We pride ourselves every game that we come out, we kind of outdo the last game. So this game we have close to 90 sponsors, real off-road companies that have participated in the game. We also have over 60 professional riders, which is also a record. And then you noticed all the gear in there too. We set a record for Encore. We put in over 500 pieces of gear that you can equip your rider with.
Right. Now I know you guys are always, looking for next year and what you can do to change that thing. Do you guys ever talk about, I see out here when the guys are out here, you got the Red Cross flag, you got the flashing lights, on a triple, you have to roll sections. Are you going to implement something like that into the game into the future?
Well, Ken's going to talk a little bit about the future of MX First ATV when he comes on next week. He's the executive producer. But yeah, we always brainstorm. We do what we call an annual industry day in Phoenix every year, which the studio is in Phoenix. So before the race, we invite all the industry partners out, riders, pit crews, race teams, anybody associated with the sport. Come check out the studio, see how the game is made, and kick around ideas with us. So we take a lot of that feedback and try to incorporate it into future games.
And when is that? Because maybe I should go down there.
I was going to say, you're going to need some feedback.
We'll get you guys.
I've been practicing quite a bit, so you're going to have to get on the stick and do some practicing, Jim.
I know it. I told Stefan I might fly in a little day earlier. He can give me a day crash course I can learn.
Well, we'd love to have you out there and show you everything we know.
Right. Well, MX versus ATV Encore is available at Walmart, Amazon. It's now available for the PlayStation 4. Go out and get your copy today. David, we want to thank you for coming and joining us on Race Day Live.
Thank you. It's been a real pleasure.
Seen you, yeah. Had a great time.
We talked about Stewart, but guess who else is back? Is his teammate, Blake Baggett. We talked to him today. Let's go down and see what Blake had to say.
Well, this is round 4, Oakland, O.Co Stadium, and the man who runs number 4, Blake Baggett, you returned to Supercross in 2016. You excited?
Yeah, definitely excited. Had to little mishap with a small injury during the off season, getting ready for the first round. So missed the first 3 rounds, but happy to be healthy and coming back and just going to jump in and see where we're at.
What was that mishap that you had when you were trust? Because I heard you were ready to go, chomping at the bit and everything, and then all of a sudden you get injured. It's got to be such a disappointment.
Yeah, for sure. You work hard from Monster Cup on all the way till right before Anaheim, and I just everything was going good with training. It was the end of the day, and I made a little mistake in the whoops. Ended up going down. I broke my collarbone pretty bad, so I had to have surgery on that, and then. From there, it's just kind of a wait and see. So waited for that thing to heal up good enough that we could start riding, and then now I feel like I'm ready to go. So we'll just come in and kind of see where we're at in racecraft, and you don't really know until you're here. So sitting at home, no matter how much you train or you think you're ready, you don't know. So you got to come in here, feel it out, see where you're at, and then you can go back during the week and make changes if needed.
How long have you been on the bike exactly since you got a chance to ride? Is it 2 weeks, 3 weeks? How long have you been on that thing?
6 Supercross days, so not that long, but you don't really lose it. Of course it takes a little while to get back into things, and when things react you want to be ready for it. So just I feel pretty good on the bike, and my shoulder's really strong, so we're gonna go in and see where we're at.
Let me see your hands. Any blisters or anything from coming back? I mean,
you got the calluses.
You say 6 days of riding, but those have been long days.
Yeah, no, for sure. So still had the calluses. I wasn't off for that long, 4 weeks off the bike, so it's not really that bad. Most people take that, and come right back. So we'll kind of go into tonight with an open mind and see where we're at.
Let me ask you this, before the crash, you were happy with all the settings on the bike and everything, so when you came back and you started riding those 6 times, did you do any testing, or it was just all about just getting back in the seat?
Yeah, coming back, we actually did a lot of testing. So we changed quite a bit up on the whole bike, forks and shock setting. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things where you think you're ready, and then you take 4 weeks off from an injury, you come back, and I wanted to make lots of changes. I had new thoughts in my mind of what I wanted it to do different in different spots. So I think I'm in a better place now anyways.
All right, well, good luck tonight.
Thank you.
And welcome back to O.Co Coliseum here, round 4, the 2016 Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship. We just heard from Blake Baggett, broken ribs, broken collarbone. 6 weeks later, he's back.
Yeah, the interesting thing when I was talking to him is that, I thought before, he got injured, he got most of his testing done, but he said, no, when we came back, we had a lot more testing. You saw a lot of the engineers around his bike this morning, with all the computers and everything. They plug those things in, they get all the data out of there, and, it's interesting because some riders will come back and say, oh, man, this thing's not working here or it missed here, and they plug it in and they go, look good
pretty
here.
good.
Yeah.
That's awesome, but you got to, Blake, he could really mix up the fantasy points as well. Got a podium last year at Daytona, has speed. I talked to his dad, and he said, he looks fast. He goes, this is all a mental thing. If Blake has his head into it, he has his confidence up, he can go out there and put that number 4 on the podium.
Yeah, I think if you're playing that RM Fantasy Supercross, I think that, he would be a great guy for a wild card pick. You get a chance each and every week to pick a wild card. I think I might have him on my wild card slot.
Speaking of wild cards, you kind of got to look at the rookies that we have in the 450 SX class this year. You have to look at Justin Bogle, who's out, but he'll be back. You also have Christoph Porcel, who's been fast has been super fast in qualifying. But then Marvin Muskin's starting to creep up his way in the points and had a couple top 10s. I think Marvin Muskin, as this championship wears on, is going to become more and more prevalent at the front of the pack.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember that Marvin Muskin, coming into the 450 class, he had a lot of problems. His brother had that accident over there that weighs on him a little bit. He wants to kind of start in the 450 class and just kind of build each and every weekend, and I think you're seeing that. Round 4. I mean, I think that you can look for him as the series wears on to have those top 5s and possibly a podium when we get back east. I know he likes that East Coast. He's the East Coast champion. He likes that dirt. You got to remember that this is West Coast dirt. It's a little bit different than the East, and so Marvin's just kind of getting his feet wet and just he doesn't want to do anything and make a mistake and get hurt before we get to that East Coast. But I look for Marvin when we hit that East Coast. He knows those tracks. He knows the cities and everything. He's going to feel a little bit more comfortable. So we're getting a chance now to watch some of the Feld Dirt Crew, rework the faces of those jumps and get the ruts out of them.
Well, we're having a good time here at O.Co Coliseum. We got more guests coming up. We're going to have Brock Tickle. We're going to have Pat Alexander. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Amsoil. Let nothing stand between you and a great day of riding. Protect your weekend. Choose Amsoil synthetic lubricants for your bike and your truck.
DC Shoes is proud to be the official footwear sponsor of 2016 Monster Energy Supercross. DC, defying convention since 1994. Check out our latest products at journeys.com.
Motorcycle Mechanics Institute wants to give you a 2016 Kawasaki Terex 4LE side-by-side. Go to www.winthatride.com to enter for your chance to win. Oakley is proud to be the official eyewear sponsor of Monster Energy Supercross. Follow us at Oakley Motorsports and at Oakley on Instagram and Twitter.
Sponsored by Yamaha, from world-leading motocross, supersport, and cruiser motorcycles to ATVs, side-by-sides, generators, and more, Yamaha revs your heart.
For over 30 years, Rocky Mountain ATV MC has worked hard to become your premier destination for OEM and aftermarket parts, apparel, and accessories. Starting out with one person in a small one-room facility, the founder and his team have grown Rocky Mountain ATV MC into your one-stop shopping destination for power sport enthusiasts throughout the world. We sell the parts and accessories you need. We sell them at a low price and get them to your door quickly. So go to our cutting-edge, easy-to-use website to get the parts and accessories you need. At Rocky Mountain ATV MC, we take processing your order seriously. Every order that comes through our state-of-the-art warehouses is processed with care, speed, and accuracy. Our multiple locations and efficient team ensure your order is shipped correctly and arrives at your door quickly. We offer free shipping on orders over $99. And when ordering apparel, if it doesn't fit right, you'll get free shipping on the first exchange. We want to make sure your shopping experience with us is a good one and risk-free. With Rocky Mountain ATV MC, you're not just another number, you're a valued fellow rider. As riders ourselves, we understand that getting your parts before the next race or for the next weekend ride is crucial. We've made it our goal to support you riders, and we're proud to be involved as a sponsor with the largest racing series in the nation for both amateur and professional racing. Try us out today. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back to Race Day Live. Jim Holley, the track day of the Field Track crew, has it looking absolutely spectacular. Looks perfect, man.
Well, like Chad Reed always says, he really likes coming out for that final go-around in that final qualifying session, because he says you can just send it anywhere because they make this track immense. And then they'll get back after that final qualifying session. They'll rework it again, and they'll get it ready for opening ceremonies. And when that gate drops at 7 o'clock tonight for that first 250 heat race, it'll be perfect.
Right. You know, speaking of perfect, Jim, tell us a little bit about what they did to the bikes, what the mechanics do after the first qualifying session. They've worked on the track. It's a little softer. What are some of the things they do to the bikes during this time?
Well, I mean, it depends on, you know, if you're a guy like Kenny Roczen, you got the fast time. Hey, I'm good. Don't mess with that bike at all. But if you're a guy that's, you know, out of the top 20, maybe he's not happy with the bike, and you know, they got complete set of forks and shocks over there. Maybe the shim stack, they don't have time to take the shim stack out and redo it. They just put a whole new shock on. And, you know, they'll do some guys might even change tires. Say, look, I'm not really working with this tire. And you got to remember that Dunlop and the factory, you know, have special tires for a lot of these guys that have a different compound in the tire. So
different sidewall.
Different, you know, thicker, softer sidewalls. So that's about it as far as, and, you know, something interesting we noticed when we were walking in the pits, Trey Kennard running some hand guards because of the stitches that he has in his hand. So he's worried about some rock coming up and reopening up and having to get more stitches. So
making his mechanic work even harder, having to put hand guards on. But
all mechanics work hard, that's for sure.
Yeah, they all work hard. And this week's MMI Top Tech mechanic was Dan Caslew. We caught up with him. That's Christoph Porcel's mechanic. Let's hear what he had to say.
Daniel, you're the recipient of the MMI/Amsoil Top Tech Award, and you know, is it hard working for Christoph Porcel?
Yeah, it's definitely hard work working for anybody in the pits. You know, it's a lot of work that goes in being a mechanic for a race team, late hours and you know, late nights and early mornings. So for us, you know, working for Christoph is definitely no more difficult than any other guy I've worked for in the past. You know, he knows what he likes, he knows what he wants, and basically knows what he needs. So for me, it's just give him what he wants, and whatever he thinks will get him to the front of the pack.
Well, it's something that's rewarding for you as a mechanic. Not only $1,000 from MMI/Amsoil for that Top Tech Award, but your qualifying times and Christoph's qualifying times top of the board.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's definitely a little bit of an eye-opener. For him coming into the series, he hasn't done Supercross in, I think, 4 or 5 years, since he won East Coast, I think, in 2011 or something like that. So didn't really know what to expect. I know he did his laps and did his homework, and we obviously did our homework as a race team to give him a bike that was capable to be up front. So at Anaheim 1, it was definitely kind of like, oh, wow, okay, he's for real.
Some people, and myself included, question his stamina in those 20-lap main events. So obviously, it's going to start with maybe a heat race. If he can get a heat race win, gain a little confidence, and as the season progresses, that 20 laps will come.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 100%. Like I said, I know like Anaheim won the first start before it was red flagged. You know, he was able to get, I think he was 4th or 5th place, and he said he felt like he was moving forward and he was going with the pack. He wasn't in the way of anybody, and he was able to race. But then after the restart there at Anaheim 1, he got a bad start and got in a small, you know, crash with I think Roczen or somebody like that. It fell. So he definitely hasn't been able to show what he has.
All right, let me ask you one last question for Daniel Caslew. $1,000, man. What'd you do with it?
I'm gonna go buy some tools, maybe do something for my girlfriend or something like that. You know, but for me, I just need to up my game, up my program. So get some more tools, get some more stuff. You know, being a professional mechanic, we got tools on the truck, tools at the shop, tools in the practice box. Got 3-4 sets of tools floating around. So in every bike, you need a unique tool to work on. So for me, a couple things I need to get, and thanks to the guys at Amsoil and MMI and all those guys for helping out, and be able to do that, and hopefully have some new tools for Phoenix.
Well, Daniel got some extra money last weekend, and like you said, you know, spent a little bit on his girlfriend, got some more tools, and you know, that had to be pretty cool. Very cool program that MMI puts together there, so good for him.
Well, and the other thing too is he's with a factory team. Last year he was Josh Hansen's mechanic on that West Coast in the Supercross class, so you can just see, and I really enjoyed you know, the answer. That's why I wanted to ask him, what are you doing with $1,000? You know, he says, I'm buying more tools. He's reinvesting back into his program.
Right. Speaking of program, our program for our hashtag last week was Ask RDL, and we had some questions. We're going to get to those here, and let's check them out. What does it mean when the whoops are cupped out? Well, when the rear tire is spinning on the 450 and it hits the face of the whoops, it digs out the front of the whoop, and after bike go over it, they begin to cup out. So what they do on the track crew, you know, the fellow track crew, they'll smooth that out. They won't lower the whoops, but they'll fix the cupping in the face of it. That makes them much more dangerous.
Yeah, and the other thing also, too, is depending on the track surface. Some tracks will cup out faster than other ones. If you got a hard, dry thing, when the wheel hits that thing, it won't cup out as much. It'll cup out in the main events.
But like what we have here today with a little bit of softer surface, they'll cup out really fast. What changes do the teams make to the bikes for qualifying? Oil, air filters, tires, etc. Jim Holley, you can tell us.
They're not changing any oils. Maybe air pressure they might do. Tires they'll change, and definitely suspension, you know, compression, rebound like we talked about earlier. Gearing, they're not really going to change any of the gearing, things like that. But you got to remember that all these guys, you know, they've practiced on this bike during the week and everything. But, yeah, it's just some tire pressures. You'll see them ride into the mechanics area, and you'll see the suspension guy come over with a long screwdriver, and he's adjusting the compression on the forks or the shock and the rebound. But no oils. Let me interrupt you. They will change the motor oil because a lot of these guys are feathering the clutch, and they'll put in clutches sometimes after in between qualifying, so they could change the clutch and also the motor oil.
Absolutely, and some of these guys are really picky, and they want a brand new tire every time they're on the track. I know Jeff Emig was like that. Every practice, every heat race, brand new tire.
Yeah, and we go down after and we'll say, hey, what are you doing with that other tire? Can we
have
it?
that?
Yeah.
Right. And how are the qualifying groups decided? Jim, you can explain that.
Well, you got your A group, and those are the guys that are, you know, the 20 fastest, you know, the single-digit guys. Once in a while you have a 3-digit guy, and then from there you got the B qualifying session, which the B group is guys that are just outside that top 20, and then the C group are the guys that really, they're the rookies out there. The first time pretty much everybody's a 3-digit guy. You saw Luke Clout last weekend. He made his debut in Supercross, a 3-digit guy, and he was in the C practice, but he finished 14th in the main event, so he moved up to the B class. And sometimes, like we have here today in Oakland, the 450s will only have an A and B. We don't have enough entries, and then like we talked about earlier, the C group only have 11 guys in there, and that's actually better than having 22 guys out there or whatever. It gives a little bit more spacing for the guys.
But as you advance, if you do well, like Luke Clout did, he'll be in the B group like he was this week. He was in the C group last weekend, B group this weekend, and actually has a lap time that could put him in the A group. So
yeah, and if he has a good finish here and gets into that top 20, then he'll move up to that A group for next weekend.
Right. So those were the questions for this week. So send us some more. We want to answer more of your questions. Ask RDL. Ask Race Day Live. You know, hashtag Supercross Live. Hashtag Supercross on Fox. But hashtag Ask RDL, and Jim, Mayra, or myself will be happy to answer your questions. We got answers.
Yeah, exactly. I enjoy answering. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But one of the guys that unfortunately not here in O.com, Dean Wilson, I feel so bad. He had the same injury last year, about this same time, I think 3 or 4 rounds into this thing. But we got a chance to catch up with Dean Wilson.
Now, Dean, we're 2 rounds in, getting ready to start round 3 tonight. You've had a 9th place finish, a 15th place finish, and a heat race win, though, last week. You know, with all that time away, did you find it a little difficult to get into a confident groove out there?
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, just getting in the top 10 is good for me for now. So last weekend it was like good. I had a heat race win, but then I got a bad start in the main and didn't ride very well, and got 15th. So I think, you know, this field's so deep that when you get a bad start, you can't come through the pack like you used to. So for me, I just really want to focus on my start in the main event, try being the top 5. And, if I can crack another top 10, that's good, and just build from it. And, by the end of the season, I want to see my results a lot better. But for now, since I've missed a lot of races last year, that'd be a good goal for me.
Speaking of starts, what do you think about this right-hand turn right off the start?
Yeah, I noticed that. I haven't really looked at the track too much, but yeah, I mean, it requires you to get off your back brake, and so it should be interesting, but hopefully it's good to me.
Well, you know what? I'm so glad to see you back. I think with that heat race win last week, you definitely had a motivator with that. What are you going to do to kind of translate the magic of that heat race into tonight in the main?
Yeah, I mean, I was top 5 on the start on that one, so if I can, like I said, crack another top 5 start in the main event, I think that would help me tremendously. Just running with the front guys is a lot better. When you're in the back, there's just a lot of, it's just really chaotic, and it's like you're doubling the triple, and then someone's trying to stuff you in the corners, and everyone's just slowing each other down, where when you start at front, you can kind of just ride your own laps. So for me, just get a good start and ride strong for 20 laps like I did at A1, and I'll be happy with that.
So I know some of your training buddies have, unfortunately suffered some injuries. Does that psych you out, or do you use that to kind of push yourself forward and, make sure that you don't end up where they're at?
Yeah, I mean, it's just part of motocross, unfortunately. I've been through my fair share of injuries, and I know exactly what they're going through. It was a shame that Jesse got injured when he was, looking good for the West Coast title. So, that was a shame. But, yeah, I mean, I just kind of got to carry on with my own program, and I have my own schedule, and just, keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
And we have our next special guest on Race Day Live, Mr. Pat Alexander from American Suzuki. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Pat.
Nice to see you guys.
Hey, first things first, I got to ask, back in 1979 when Jimmy Weimer won, it was a sand course, a little bit different than we have here today. Who were you working for back then?
I was working for Danny Laporte.
That's what I thought. And how'd Danny finish up? You remember that night?
No.
You don't remember?
No, all I remember is getting hit by sand.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to set that up. That's how long you've been around. I mean, you've been around as a mechanic for Danny Laporte, Marty Smith, and then now you've transitioned into the upper management, I like to say, at US Suzuki.
Yeah, that's correct. I was just thinking back before we came up here. It's in professional racing, I think I've been about 41 years now.
Wow. Long time, Andy. Yeah. But, something that I liked at Suzuki, and we've talked about it in years past, I said, Pat, I really don't see the 250 program. And something in 2016, you got together and you said, look, we need to put out a 250 program. Now you got 2 teams out there.
Yeah, it's something that Suzuki's been working on. We had to cut back a few years back, so we knew that we had to get back in the 250 program again. So it looks like we've got a couple of good programs that are out there right now.
Yeah, you talk about, we talked a little bit with Kyle Cunningham. That team came together a little bit late, and you saw at Anaheim he struggled a little bit, but then in San Diego we saw him get a 9th, and then last weekend we saw him get a 7th, and I said, look, Kyle, I think you're a podium guy. The team is giving you, and I can't wait till we get to that East Coast and we see Matt Bisceglia also riding the Suzuki.
Well, the motorcycle superstores came together. God, we've been working on it almost since the summertime with Mark Rogers and his crew, and it's really materialized to be something good. Along with that, we've got the Mad Racing guys, Dirt Candy sponsor.
Luke Clout's killing it for you. He's doing really well.
We drug the Australian in.
Yeah.
We got a guy hurt, so they had to pick up somebody else.
Well, and you guys do that a lot. I mean, I remember in years past, Matt Moss would come over here, and he was with the Yoshimura factory Suzuki kind of off to the side and stuff. A lot of good Australians are coming out of Australia.
Yeah, we're getting them from all over the world, to be honest with you. They're coming in, they're learning the Supercross a little bit better, then they go home and beat up on their local guys.
Right. Speaking of one of those local guys that made it to the big time, Jimmy Albertson's on your team, and he's quite a personality. What's it like working with him?
Well, he's a good group. Yeah. He's all the guys are really pretty darn good. Yeah. And as far as injuries goes, we just got Jake Weimer on the RCH program, so it's. These guys kind of work as hard as they possibly can to come up, and we'll pick him up and try and work with him.
You mentioned Jake Weimer on the Jimmy John Soaring Eagle Dodge Suzuki team, Hart and Huntington and Ricky Carmichael over there. Brock Tickle unfortunately had that injury during practice. He's out. Is it something with the contracts where they have to have a two-rider team? Because, I mean, you can end up with 3 riders over there. If Brock heals up enough, they said, no, we're going to have a 3-rider team.
No, it looks that way right now. The Jimmy John Soaring Eagle group, RCH, is they're trying as hard as they can to keep their sponsors happy and work hard. Roxon's doing a fabulous job, so it's all good.
And you got to be happy with the Yoshimura Factory Suzuki team in that 450. You got both riders back here in Oakland. I mean, it is round 4. Right. Number 4, Blake Baggett makes his debut in 2016, and then James Stewart, we all know, had the problem. But you had to have been happy with his qualifying time. I mean, second for James Stewart, just a 10th off of Kenny Roczen. You got 2 Suzukis up on the top.
Well, that's why you got me here.
That's right.
We're 1-2 today, so we're looking pretty good, and the guys are doing a really good job. And having James back, obviously, is really good, as well as Blake. So
right. Well, 41 years. You know, you've been coming to the races for so long, and I kind of said a lot of things coming into this season. This is the deepest field we've ever seen. Someone with your experience, you know, do you think this is one of the deepest fields we've ever had?
Yeah, but back when Johnson and those guys were racing, it was pretty deep. You had David Bailey, Ricky Johnson. We had our group, Mark Barnett, and
pretty tough back then, too.
Yeah, the Yamaha guys were pretty strong as well. So
right.
You know, something I found interesting, I talked to Andy about it earlier, we're kind of like some of the trivia questions and stuff. The last time Suzuki won a main event here in the 450 class, you remember who it was?
Here in Oakland?
Here in Oakland.
Was probably Ken Howerton.
Ken Howerton, 1990. So that's a long time, and I'm thinking, okay, James Stewart, he's fast today. He's got 2 wins here. He kind of likes Oakland. Yeah. And if you're playing the RM Fantasy Supercross, I'm thinking, well, maybe James Stewart for the win.
Right, absolutely. Well, Pat, thank you for coming on Race Day Live. You guys talked about Jake Weimer. We had a piece with him earlier today. Let's go check that out. You're under a factory awning again. How does it feel?
It feels good, man. It's been a crazy last week for me, and you know, a lot of adjustment, but it's been a good week. I've had a lot of fun, and you know, happy to be here in Oakland with the RCH team, and looking forward to getting out there and getting the ball rolling and seeing where we're at.
Well, there's a reason you got this ride. You've been, doing very well this season so far. You're getting good starts. You're running at the front of the pack. What did you do in the off season to find some extra speed?
That's tough, man. I actually had like kind of a tough off season coming back from the injury of my arm, and spent most of the time rehabbing my arm and shoulder, and so I felt like the last month or so it was really good leading up to Anaheim 1, but I didn't feel like I had as much time as I wanted, which is kind of normal, but it was a little different for me, I would say. So it's been a good start, and I'm just looking to try and improve from here.
Well, one team's gain is another team's loss. How was it with Dakota Tedder and Tedder Racing, telling him, hey, man, I got this opportunity? Were they cool with it?
Well, of course, initially, people are bummed, and they were bummed, which I understand. I mean, that's hard for me, too. But at the end of the day, we talked about it, and they understand, and it's a big opportunity, and just something I felt like I couldn't let go. So no, it's all good, and those guys had done a lot for me, and without them, I wouldn't have been at the races and had this opportunity. So yeah, I still talk with Dakota this week, checking on him, and no, everything's good.
It looks like it's pretty seamless. You brought your gear over, you got Monster with you, so that's got to be pretty cool. You got to feel good to have your sponsors come with you over here to this factory team.
Yeah, for sure, and I'm happy for them too, that there's, with all of this going on, and they're getting some exposure out of it, and so it seems that it's been good for everybody, and I'm happy to have them come with me.
4 days on the bike, how is that thing?
It's good. I'm excited, man. I rode it for 15 minutes and was already felt good on it, and we got some testing in and just small changes here and there, and it's been a lot of fun. I feel comfortable, loving the bike, been really happy with it.
Round 4 tonight. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
And that was Soaring Eagle. Jimmy John RCH's Jake Weimer picked him up a new factory ride. You know, had a tough road for the last couple years, had some injuries, but he's back. He's back on a factory bike. He's 9th in the points, you know, and this is a deep field. Jake looks pretty good.
No, I think that, you know, I think something that he changed this year is he kind of, Donnie Hansen's been working with him a lot, and I think that you're seeing a different rider in Jake Weimer, and I think with this Suzuki ride, I mean, you know, he could be up in that top 5 easy tonight.
Yeah, with a good start, like you said, from Mr. Holshot himself, Donnie Hansen. We need to get him on the show. I always see him in the pits, and we've been talking to him a little bit. 1982 Supercross champion, Donnie Hansen.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll try for San Diego for a military appreciation night. That's going to be on February 13th there in Petco Park, so we'll schedule it.
Yeah, let's schedule it.
Donnie, I know he's listening probably. So.
Yeah, hi, Donnie. Well, we hope everybody's having a good time today. We've got a beautiful day. The track's perfect. We want to thank all of our international viewers for tuning in to Race Day Live. Germany, Australia, Canada, everywhere all over the world. Thank you for watching us. We still have Brock Tickle coming up. We have the A group qualifying coming up. Look at the track right there in that big open. It's absolutely perfect. The lap times are going to get faster, and we're going to have an awesome show here for you tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to see if that lap time that Kenny Roxon put down, that 54.8, if that can hold up, or if maybe they can go down a little bit more. I'm thinking that it's going to go down a little bit more just because they're going to have a little bit more time on the track, so we'll see.
Well, let me ask you this. The guy that surprised everybody in qualifying for the first 3 weeks, Christophe Pourcel, can he do it again?
You know, he's the type of rider that you look at him and you really don't see him. And with the rain delay that we had here, not a free practice, he probably wasn't feeling comfortable in that first qualifying session. But I'm sure that they went back and made some changes, and he's a little bit more acclimated to the track, and he'll feel a little bit more comfortable. And look for Christophe Pourcel maybe just to come out there, and you'll see him down. And we've looked at it
12,
before. He's
13.
12, 13, and then all of a sudden we turn and we talk about something else. We come back and we go, bam, there's 377. Christophe Pourcel with the fastest time. So we'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? We have another MX versus ATV Supercross Encore Hot Lap, Jim. Let's get into it. Let's check it out.
Well, you're going to see, you know, the Husky there, and I'm not sure which track this was. He said it was earlier Manchester, but right there, I mean, it looks phenomenal to go out there and ride. Andy, we're going to have a chance to
race
next weekend in Glendale, Arizona. I don't know if I can lift it up and over the now look at that. Look at one rider down there. You saw the tough block on. That's how real this game is here. Is see a nice whip there after the finish line there. A nice right-hander. And here's a step on with a little step off here, and you'll see a lot of these guys. I mean, they implement on the MX versus ATV Supercross Encore. I mean, this is a full-blown Supercross track here. You're getting a chance to see this. That's Stefan Roncata, they tell me, on that Husky right there.
No, he definitely looks fast. Looks like a cool track, and I can't wait to race you next week, and we're definitely going to have fun with that. And folks, don't forget, MX versus ATV Supercross Encore video game is now available for PlayStation 4. Pick up your copy now on Amazon, at Walmart, and at GameStop.
See a little bit of dust out there, you know. I want to see if, I mean, the whips, they're just phenomenal. I'm not going to do any whips next weekend. I'm just going straight, and that's about it. But it's just a great game. It's kind of neat to get out there. And I mean, some people have some mad skills. I mean, I know Stefan Roncata, but he's got a big advantage. You see the guy right through whoops, and you see right there, it's not cupped out. Look, he's able to wheelie through those whoops right there. And he doesn't come up short on anything. And the good thing about it is if you do come up short, it's okay.
It was great having David Knudsen join us here. And, you know, we had Stefan Roncata, Michael Mamula, and now David, and all three of them very big enthusiasts. Just cool. You know, very cool video game. Very grateful to have them a part of Race Day Live. And can't wait to race you next week.
Yeah, and the other thing with David Knudsen, when he was on, he said, you know, look, hey, we invite it's just not us, you know, it's just not people with a computer. We invite industry people down to ask them, hey, how can we make this game more improve on it? Mm-hmm. And you know, I might be in on that one.
Yeah. Well, you were definitely.
I want a set of handlebars. I have a hard time with the controller doing this stuff. I want, if you give me a throttle and a brake and everything, then I'm okay.
Well, you're always okay. And one thing you don't have a problem with at all is interviews. Jim Holley caught up with Ryan Dungey, the winner of last weekend's race. Here's what they had to talk about.
Well, Ryan Dungey, 2 in a row for you, and you know what? Something I did that time. I went down, I walked around a lot of the track. That bike did not move 1 inch from side to side in the whoops. I watched you, every line you hit, your mark every time, each and every lap.
Well,
and that was the goal. You know, the track about past the halfway mark, it really started deteriorating in the ruts and the corners and these long set of whoops. The other whoops weren't so bad, but they started to really go and create a lot of edges, and a couple of times it got a little dancy, but you know, the bike overall worked really nice. The team done a good job, and all the testing, you know, obviously we're going to try to keep up with it and keep building, but it was a good night. You know, to get another win is awesome. I mean, that's what we work hard for, and to be in this position, so very thankful for that. And then, you know, I think, you know, too, having a good group of people around me is key too.
You know, something when that gate dropped, you run it down into this right-hander, you look up, you see Davey Millsaps collects that whole shot, but you put yourself in a good position to get around him right away, and you put a little distance, a little bit more this week on Chad Reed than last week.
Well, I tried. You know, I know Chad was going good today in practice, so I knew he was going to be on fire, and so was Ken, all the guys, you know. So once I got in the lead, I tried to just really open up and stay strong and hit my marks. That first turn, me and Davey come in, I tucked underneath, and I slid off the face, so I wasn't able to. I thought I was going, all right, I got it, and then I slid off the face, and he came in front. So he led for some good laps, which was good. He led for a little bit. For me, it was good because I got to kind of see his lines, and then maybe by the time I got in the lead, I could, you know, switch him up or try to better those lines if I could, you know. But there wasn't a lot to pick from.
19 podiums in a row for you now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not keeping track, but it's really cool. That's an awesome stat, but it didn't happen all at once. You know, it happened race by race, day by day, and main event by main event, one lap at a time. So try to keep the focus and stay on the course.
Well, you just heard from Ryan Dungey. You know, we said it before, we'll say it again. 19 podiums, he's won 2 out of 3. He's got a 13-point lead. He's feeling it, man.
Yeah, and he's focused. I mean, you know, you hear him talk about, well, I got to keep the focus. That's one guy who I've never seen him deviate from keeping focused. I mean, he is just he is on point every time as we're getting a chance to watch this 250 Group C final qualifying.
Number 2, Blake Lilly again. He was the fastest in the first qualifying effort out there.
He's probably loving it right now. He is actually the first guy on. Yeah. It's his roost that's making the lines out there because no one else is ahead of him. He went out right away and just trying to lay down some good lap times. And
I want to see Blake in the main event, you know.
I do too. I mean,
last week Luke Clout was the fastest C guy, and he got into the main event, got a 14th place finish. And Blake Lilly really looks like he's on top of this track early, charging hard, looks smooth. We don't want to jinx him, though, but so far so good.
Yeah, it's interesting that left-hander, you know, you go outside and then he cuts across at a 45-degree angle to set up for that right-hander there in that bowl turn there. So he's got good lines, and he's placing the motorcycle great. You see him using every inch of the track come down here and seat hop that. And no, he looks great.
Double. It's a pretty interesting part of the track there, the double-double in that right-handed corner. Pretty technical.
Yeah. You know, when we had Pat on, we were talking about that 79 Supercross here at All Sand area. Old Steve Bowyer was riding. He didn't make the main event that night.
Shout out Steve Bowyer.
Yeah, old Steve. And the thing about it is that, you know, that race was held on Sunday. It wasn't a Saturday night race. It was a Sunday race, too. So a little bit different, just like, you know, this year in 2016, we're going to have some day races on Fox Broadcasting Network. That is going to be Foxborough Stadium. It's going to be a day race. And also St. Louis, Missouri will also be a day race. So a little bit different setup for these guys because of the track walk.
Absolutely. The track's perfect. We have Brock Tickle coming up next. We're going to have a few words from our sponsors. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Two weeks in a row, you're in second place, but you got your eyes on the champion. You're really close.
We're there. You know, not.
People listen to this.
I wouldn't say that we put the pressure on tonight, but the feeling's there. It's just something a little missing. I feel like I need to be a little better. Bike's great, to be honest with you. I think when I ride and do the things that I'm supposed to do, it gives me what I want.
Yeah.
So I think having a couple of rough seasons and not being there consistently, I feel that it's on me at this point. You know, like I just need to know that this is where I belong and go get it.
2 good starts in a row. Confidence has to be high. How do you feel going into Oakland?
I feel great. The weather forecast looks wet, so who knows? You know, you never know what's going to happen in the mud. And 2 solid races. You know, like last week, Dunge was really strong, and again tonight. And I felt that without my own mistakes, I was a really kind of like an easy, solid second.
Yeah.
I gave up time in there at the end, but there was just my mistakes. You know,
Yeah.
nothing more than that. It wasn't fitness, wasn't anything. It was just me making little mistakes. So I'm excited to keep pushing the envelope and seeing what we can do.
Yeah, 3 rounds in, 2 second places. You're right there in the points. Congratulations.
Cheers, thanks.
Amsoil. Let nothing stand between you and a great day of riding. Protect your weekend. Choose Amsoil synthetic lubricants for your bike and your truck.
DC Shoes is proud to be the official footwear sponsor of 2016 Monster Energy Supercross. DC, defying convention since 1994. Check out our latest products at journeys.com.
Motorcycle Mechanics Institute wants to give you a 2016 Kawasaki Terex 4LE side-by-side. Go to www.winthatride.com to enter for your chance to win. Oakley is proud to be the official eyewear sponsor of Monster Energy Supercross. Follow us at Oakley Motorsports and at Oakley on Instagram and Twitter.
Sponsored by Yamaha, from world-leading motocross, supersport, and cruiser motorcycles to ATVs, side-by-sides, generators, and more, Yamaha revs your heart.
Your journey to work, to play, to see places you've never seen before. It's not where you're riding, it's who you're riding with.
I just woke up one day and it clicked, and I'm like, I'm not just gonna be someone that rode a dirt bike and that tried. I'm gonna become the best. To be the best, it takes sacrifice, it takes a dream and a drive.
Striving to be the best, it's super critical to have a strong team behind you and a strong motorcycle. Being the best is everything, you know, that's what you want. It's where you want to be.
It all just comes down to how much passion you have for the sport.
Bike is everything to be the best.
Never give up, chase your dream, and if you work hard now and you sacrifice and you do what you're supposed to do, you can live the rest of your life as a champion.
The Yamaha Champion YZ450F and multi-champion YZ250F.
Rainbow Studios. Are you ready for more? MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore. The off-road legend returns with the next generation of graphics. Set yourself up with all new gear and bikes. Tear up the track in outdoor nationals and waypoint races. Meet up and explore in freeride. And for the first time ever, rhythm racing. Available now.
There's a lot of performance hidden in these tires. These tires are insanely good. Selected as a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. If this is what experts thought about Cooper tires, imagine what you'll have to say. They're impressive on all surfaces. Put Cooper tires on your car today.
I'm Juliana Daniel, Miss Supercross 2016, and you're watching Race Day Live.
Hey, welcome back to O.Co Coliseum here in Oakland, California. Want to welcome a very special guest, Soaring Eagle, Jimmy John's RCH Brock Tickle. Welcome to the show, man.
I was going to shake the other hand. I'm going to do this one because that one's the one that's broken, huh?
Yeah, I broke my radius last Thursday. Had surgery on Thursday and bummed out about it, but it could be a lot worse, and built some good momentum during the week that week. So looking forward to get back on the bike and coming out here racing.
You mentioned Thursday you did it and you had the surgery that same night. How did you get that accomplished? You must have the doctor's cell number.
Yeah, Dr. Alexander obviously works for Asterix, and he's done both of my collarbones, and I had my wife get a hold of him, went in, saw him, and I was like, he's like, I think I can maybe do it next week. And I was like, I think we need to try to do it as soon as we can. He's like, let me look at my schedule, and he got it done. So stoked, and it's healing from here.
Something else that's who's getting it done is Blake Lilly there. We're on a split screen there, and you see Lilly, his time, a 59.1.
Yeah, it looks like the track's coming around quite a bit. The first practice, it was a little notchy, it looked like, but they went out and cleaned up a lot, and I think tonight the track will be awesome.
When can we see Brock Tickle back? I mean, I know it's hard to say, like, you know, the doctor says, okay, it's going to be 6 weeks, and then you got to get back on the bike, and you got to ride a couple weeks and get yourself back. But I mean, what are you trying to shoot for?
I'd like to make the last 5 rounds, so nice. That puts me at like 7 weeks from now. So looking forward to being back out there. I kind of started off the season not where I wanted to be, and I honestly had the best off season I've ever had. So I feel like I have something to redeem myself, and look forward to getting back out there. I mean, the competition's awesome, and it would be good to end the season strong and head into outdoors.
You know, Brock, you guys are so tough. You came back from a really bad injury, and you came back even faster. Now you're hurt again, but you're going to be okay, but you're going to come back even faster. Tell the new viewers at home, what do you lose when you're out? You know, what is the hardest thing to get back when you come back from injury?
I think it's just not dwelling on it. You got to look forward, and obviously it already happened. There's nothing I can do about it, and having that focus and determination to want to be better and use what you can to kind of sit on the couch, take your rest, because we don't get much of it. So for me, I'm using this as some time to take off and work on some stuff that I think will help me when I do come back.
Well, and the other thing I was going to ask you is you're probably bummed out you're not here in Oakland, because I remember when you got your first win here in Oakland when you were riding in the 250 class.
Yeah, no, and I saw the rain on the forecast, and it just reminded me of the night. So stoked to be here. Glad you guys had me on the show, and hopefully we have some good racing tonight.
You know, a lot of people that are watching us, they say you see an injury, but it's not like you're laying in bed eating bonbons where you're still going to the gym, you're working with your legs and pedaling bicycles and doing all that other stuff. You just can't use this one arm.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, I took this week off, or the first week off, and I'm going to start getting back after it this week. And I know I won't lose anything. I mean, it's been, since outdoors, it's been wide open for me, getting stuff ready, testing, doing whatever we need to. And I know I'm in shape, so just getting back on the bike a week. The second week, I hopefully come back and race that weekend.
You know, obviously you're here, you're signing autographs and things like that, but you're also a different role now. You're kind of helping out Kenny and Jake Weimer, who took your spot there. You're up here, you can kind of see things a little differently, and you kind of go back and relay some information back to the guys?
Yeah, for sure. I've been at the track all week. I went, because there's not really much I can do, obviously, from 9 to 5 during the day. So obviously to go out to the track 15 minutes away just to check everything out and just be there. I mean, it's obviously what I do, and being at home isn't where I want to be. So for me, it was better than sitting at home, and I'm pumped for Jake. I really am, and I hope he has a good rest of the season, and looking forward to getting back out there.
Absolutely.
You know, you talk about your teammate Kenny Rocks, and he set down the fastest lap time and things like that. Last week he looked phenomenal. Me and Andy were talking about it, but he's just lacking in the starts. I mean, and I talked to him, and Oscar, his mechanic, says, man, we probably did 400 starts and things like that. I mean, it's hard to duplicate the starting position that you have here. You know,
yeah,
it's a different soil. You're out at the test track. It's hard, dry. Everything feels good. But when you get here, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, obviously with all the other riders on the gate and stuff too. But I think Kenny obviously said he has practiced probably 400 or 500 starts this week. And I think this week was good for him. And then on top of that, he's hungry to win. I see it, and his practice was awesome out there that last time.
Right, and speaking of practice being awesome, there's Blake Lilly. He's still at the top. You know, Brock, take us around the track a little bit. How are those whoops when they're soft like that? What difficulties do those bring you?
I mean, it's just kind of how your bike's set up, I would say, too. Obviously, when it's hard and slippery, it's going to be different. But it is grabby, obviously, when the dirt's like this. So the main thing is I like it when it's like this. This is what I enjoy riding in. And for me, I feel comfortable in this. So it's almost just letting the bike do what it wants. Because when it's tacky like that, if you're fighting it, it's just going to be even worse. You're just too negative. So.
Right.
Well, and we had one of our listeners. They hashtagged this, and they were asking, what changes do you make on your bike in between the 2 qualifying sessions? What would you change? Are you a guy that, hey, I burned up my clutch, I need to change my clutch?
Just some clickers, maybe some ride height on the forks, maybe ride height on the shock, just little stuff. This year I was pretty minimal. I'm really stoked on the motor changes we did throughout the off season, and we came in the first 2 races and we were good to go. So I think for the rest of the season, it should be pretty easy for me to adapt motor-wise, but obviously suspension-wise, the track's soft here.
Do you go stiffer with the softer track?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on how you feel. You go out there, feel it out, and then see where you're at. And we make changes, or I try to make as much changes to where it's not going to confuse me. That way I learn the bike, and then that way when we're here, it's easy to do.
Well, and if you're Blake Lilly, you don't want to make any changes because a 58.0, that's a great lap time for him, and he's the fastest again.
Pretty much faster than the guy behind him. So they definitely did some track change, or I think they changed these rollers out behind us right here a little bit, and that's a good time. Because what were the 450s, 55s?
Right,
yeah, 55.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Blake Lilly, Keely Russell, Brandon Leith, Dalton Oxborough, and Lorenzo Camporisi, our Italian friend. Yeah. Right on. Well, Brock, thank you for coming on Race Day Live. I keep shaking the wrong hand there.
I'm going to shake this one, man.
But we can't wait to see the big number 20 back on the track. You said you'd be back with 5 to go, so we're looking forward to it.
Yeah,
man.
I appreciate it, guys.
You know, something I want to ask you real quick is I know in the offseason you talked about everything, but you made a change in the offseason. You changed helmet manufacturers.
Yeah, I switched over from Bell to Rye, and I'm stoked. I mean, obviously I was stoked with my setup last year, but I had some stuff fall apart for me, and then it was last minute again, and I pretty much had the Rye offer and pretty much took it and was stoked with it the first day I wore the helmet, and I'm really stoked with how everything turned out. It was middle of December when I got all my stuff done, so that can tell you kind of where I was at, and it was crunch time. So
late.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we have another practice lining up right now, the 250B qualifying number 2. There they are in the MX versus ATV Supercross Encore starting line. But thanks a lot, Brock. Thanks for coming on the show, man. And good luck. Bummer. Hate seeing Brock out. He was just starting to come into his zone there.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see these guys, I mean, have injuries like that. It's just part of the sport, but it's just, I was amazed at, his doctor right away on himself. Hey, man, I did it today. Let's do it. I can't wait a week. They want to get
fix
that.
It.
Yeah, it's
and he'll
crazy.
be back. Here they go. 250 B group qualifying number 2. Track looks perfect. 58 flat was the fastest by Blake Lilly in 250C. I'm pretty sure these guys will, well, I don't know. Blake Lilly's riding pretty good. So we'll see. I think that's our guy Hayden Melross right there, isn't it? Or is that Zach Bell? Zach Bell.
65, yeah. Zach Bell there. But like you said, Zach Bell, champion Austin Politelli. You got Dylan Epstein in there. You got Brock Shoemaker. I know that Frenchie from C4MX there kind of helping out those 2 riders and a few other guys out there. But I think these times will be just a little bit faster maybe, but it'll be good to see. It'll be interesting to see next weekend when we're in Glendale to see if Lilly moves up into the B.
Yeah, he's riding good.
Because that'll help him. Because if he can ride, you always hear you got to ride with faster guys to become faster, So it'll be good if he can get a chance to get into that B qualifier. But
Absolutely.
Right now, Bell looks like he's going around pretty good.
Yeah, Bell, a lot of talent there. A lot of bad luck, a lot of crashes, but has the speed if he gets a good start.
One rider down. That's
Luke Clout.
Luke Clout.
Yeah.
Have to check and see if Luke's all right. I see his bike, and he's still kind of, I'm not so sure what happened on that kicker coming into that left-hander.
Yeah.
He might have got the rear end come back over the back of him.
Oh,
there he is there. Oh.
We'll hope he's okay.
Yeah, the Asterix Mobile Medical Unit will be over there. You're going to see some yellow flags out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they red flag this one. They got the red, the cross flag out, which is good. Everyone will slow down, but if they have to get the Asterix Mobile Medical Unit on the course, they will red flag this one. But right now, they're still going.
Yeah. Bummer. Luke was doing so well, riding so well. Lap times were great. Hate seeing that.
And I believe that that's a red flag out. So they're going to red flag this one and restack this one up here in that B qualifying. And hopefully Luke Clout, hopefully he'll be all right. But they're going to red flag this one.
Yep. Yeah, we have a red flag condition here for Luke Clout. Went over the bars really hard. We're going to keep our thoughts and prayers with him. Hope he's okay. But, it's just hate seeing that, Just did an interview with him today, met the young man. And
yeah, nice guy.
Right.
Just unfortunate that, had that problem. We didn't get a chance to see what happened to him, but hopefully he'll be all right. But it's a little bit hard for these guys because, they go back and now they're going to talk to the mechanics, and they're worried about their fellow rider. They don't know. They know, hey, he went down, but they don't know, the situation and what happened. But it's just hard for those guys because they're back there sitting there thinking about things, and everybody's thinking about Luke, and hopefully he's okay.
Unfortunately, we have a little bit of time right now. We heard from Dungey. We heard from Reed. Well, we're going to talk to the gentleman that finished third in the 450SX class last weekend. Let's check it out.
All right, Ken Roxon, it looks like the third round is the charm to end up on that podium in the 450 Supercross class. You must be pretty pumped.
Yeah, obviously happy to be back on the box, but I want to be at the very top, and my stars have been holding me back, but I've probably done about 300 starts this week, so we're just gonna keep practicing them, and I think at one point they will come, because other than that, I feel super strong, and I was riding good towards the end and made up some time, but obviously it was only enough for the third place, but we are coming back, and we're getting stronger every single race.
Not the start that you wanted, but you did slice and dice your way through the pack to end up on that podium.
Yeah, exactly. I just need to start somewhere up in the top 5, top 3 would be great. But I think I was 12th or something off the start, so not ideal. And obviously there was some carnage going on left and right, so it's really hard. Obviously it's dangerous, so you don't want to be in that. But I had to single a bunch of stuff and picked it up from there on up.
So what's going on through your mind when you come around and you see that number 3 on the ground in its final lap?
It was unexpected, it was one lap to go, and I actually made a mistake just before that, which cost me a lot of time, because otherwise I think I could have, came closer a little bit to Chad and made something happen, but it is what it is.
Well, I know the fans are so glad to see you back on the box. Congratulations, Ken.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And we're still under a red flag condition here at O.Co Coliseum. It's round 4, the 2016 Monster Energy AMA Supercross and FIM World Championship. Luke Clout is the rider that's down. They are getting him tended to right now. He's awake and moving around and stuff. We think he has a lower extremity injury maybe, but keep our thoughts and prayers with him. But talking to Kenny Roxon there, got his first podium of the year, fastest qualifier today. Might be a guy we're looking at for the win tonight.
Yeah, I think and he probably wants to, says, hey, Oakland owes me one last year. I kind of had a bad night here, and we'll look to see if Kenny can. That's another Suzuki guy that could win.
Yeah.
And put Suzuki back on the board. It's been a long time since Suzuki's won here in Oakland.
Right. And I'm leaning towards Roxon tonight. He's tough. He's hungry. He hasn't been getting good starts. If Kenny Roxon starts in the top 3, you better look for him to make a dent in the lead and battle Ryan Dungey, battle Eli Tomac, battle Chad Reed, Cole Seeley, Jason Anderson, on down the list.
I think the first thing, though, he's got to battle is that starting gate.
Right.
He's got to battle that starting gate to get out of there, and I think it'll be a little bit easier on him.
Right. We were just talking about fantasy picks, and let's go ahead and take a look at some of the top ones. There we go. Number 1, Ryan Dungey.
Well, there's second, Ken Roxon. They think Reed's going to be on the podium again, and Tomac another 4th. 4 rounds, 4 fourth places for Tomac, they're saying, and a 5th place for Anderson. The wild card in that 7th. You could put a lot of guys in that 7th position. Millsaps, Brayton, Peick,
Porcel,
Weimer. There's a lot of guys you can put in there, and look at the man, Pop 67, leading it out there.
20-point lead. This guy's been
starting to pull away from Yami's 250X at 226 there. Nas at 224 there. So these guys are all battling out there. They're close. I'm curious on what his picks are, the leader. I'd like to see, maybe we can get that graphic and see who exactly, how he has that lead already.
Right.
He must be picking the winners every time.
Well, he's been picking Ryan Dungey, obviously, I think.
He must ride a KTM also.
Right. Well, a couple of guys we haven't really talked about during the show today, Cole Seeley and Jason Anderson. You know, Cole Seeley, a little bit of quiet week finish last week. What was he?
6th, I think.
Yeah, you know, not bad. 2 third places and a 6th.
Yeah.
Cole Seeley's another guy, gets the whole shot. He can win. He won last year.
He wasn't on the fantasy pick either. I mean, that's a guy that, you know, if he can get a start, he can run away with one of these things and win it.
So absolutely, and so can Jason Anderson. He showed what he can do with a good start. He actually didn't even get that good a start when he won the season opener. He's just that tough, but had a horrible start last weekend. But a guy I really think we need to keep an eye on that can sneak into there that's really stealthy is Marvin Muskin. He rounded the first lap last weekend in 22nd place, came up to 9th. And when the field's this deep and you're passing that many riders, that shows you got a little bit of steam.
Well, but the other thing also is the guys, once they get up to that position into that top 10, it gets a little bit tougher to pass some of those guys. But that's another guy that you could put on that wild card for finishing 7th here also. But I think that, like we talked about earlier in the show, that as you're seeing some of the guys on the MX versus ATV starting encore starting gate there, they're just kind of waiting around here. It looks like they're getting the Asterix Mobile Medical Unit, so they should be getting ready to start here. But I look for Marvin to put him on a fantasy pick when we hit that East Coast. That's right. I think he's a little bit used to that soil over there, and he won the championship there last year. And you know, he'll definitely be up on the fantasy picks.
I want to see him go head-to-head against Cooper Webb. That was the battle we never got to see last year at the East-West Shootout.
Well, we could possibly see it in Atlanta.
Right.
Because hopefully Cooper Webb will ride a 450 in Atlonna. Marvin's in there.
And he's up to speed by then with a little more confidence, I think.
See it. Yep.
That could be a heck of a race.
Well, Zach Bell going to line him back up here again. They got about 12 minutes and 55 seconds left in this. Notice they're giving him a little bit more time. But Zach Bell with a 57.5 and Zachary Cummins a 58.9.
Bell jumps right back out there. You know what I saw him do? He tripled out of that corner. It's one of the first 250Fs I've seen do that. I know they've done it, but I just haven't seen him. It looks really fast.
You notice all these guys just downside that over and under bridge right away.
You know, we just had the track fixed up not too long ago, and the ruts are already starting to come back. I think that's going to be a theme in the main events tonight, Jim Holley. This track's going to have some serious ruts in it.
Well, we heard Chad Reed talk a little bit about it. You know, hey, Oakland's had a lot of rain. I've been looking at the forecast and things like that, and that means that this dirt was wet coming into the stadium. So not too many dry, sunny days out here, but tonight it looks like it'll be a dry night, which is good. But, yeah, absolutely. I think in the main event time, we're going to see the Whoops Cup out, and we're going to see a lot of ruts on the faces of some of these big jumps, especially in those transitions where you're grabbing a handful of throttle, the bike's slamming in it. You got to remember the bike weighs 225 pounds or so. You got a rider 150. That's compressing in. So those ruts, if it's wet before the transition, but I'm still not giving up on our Feld dirt crew. I think before those heat races, I think they'll put a little more drying agent into the soil.
Yeah.
I think they'll be fine.
As the 250B qualifying number 2 gets rolling again, it is Zach Bell, followed by Zachary Comans, Chris Howell, Chase Marquier, Brock Shoemaker. That's your top 5.
Yeah, good to see Brock Shoemaker up into that top 5. I know Frenchie's going to be happy.
These guys are actually having a pretty good battle there. That's Noah McConaughey on the 96. I think he'll jump up into the, where is he at? Yeah, he jumps up to 2nd. He was shadowing Bell there. Ooh, easy, Zach.
Yeah, now Chris Howard jumps up into that 2nd with a 58.1. So it's going to be changing. Zach Bell getting after it. That's that big double that we were talking about. No triples, but they got a big double.
Right there.
Yeah, he tripled it just then. But see, the next thing is if he can triple that next section out like we saw Dungey do with that 450 power. Dungey triple section that.
Yep. There's Chris Howell.
On his Husqvarna. Who's helping out old Mr. Howell?
Well, we'll find out. Give me 1 second and we'll tell you exactly who's helping out Chris Howell. JMC Motorsports, K1 Speed, and Alliance Steel Racing. Some different sponsors, some outside sponsors. Sounds like he's getting some help. It's Johnny Gilberta.
Yeah, Johnny, you're looking down. Don't stop, Johnny.
Yeah, don't stop there.
Pull into the mechanics there if you think you got a problem with that motorcycle. There's a couple of those ruts we were talking about as Bell makes that right-hander there.
Oh, you see that kicker there?
Yeah,
it's bit a couple people today, and you can't be aggressive with it. It'll bite you.
Well, the thing about it is it's changing the geometry of the motorcycle. You're coming down there, and you can't leave it wide open and hit that thing, so you got to brake.
You got to brake and then gas it a little bit off
and then you got to gas it. Yeah. It's rebounding up, and that's why probably we're seeing a lot of the guys come into the mechanics there as we see Bell now starting to you'll see him.
He's down. He's over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure what happened there, but Zach Bell still there. He is right there. I'm not sure what happened to him. You see number 65. It looks like he's
tweaked a knee or something.
Yeah,
I hope he's okay.
He's got the fast time with a 56.8. Hopefully he's okay.
Noah McConaughey there, number 96.
Now Bell's riding off, so that's a good sign. He's riding off. And he got back on the course.
He's riding again. That's all that matters. So we're happy to see that. With about 8 minutes to go, it is Zach Bell, Chris Howell, Zachary Comans, Austin Politelli, and Nick Cowenberg. Followed by Scott Champion, Killian Alberson, Noah McConaughey, and Kevin Weisbrush. And Brock Shoemaker rounding out the top 10. 250B qualifying number 2. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Race Day Live, all of our international viewers. Thank you so much. Had a lot of good guests today. Fun to talk to Brock Tickle. Fun to talk to Christian Craig. Just a good story. You get a guy that retires at 23, does construction, and then says, I think I want to race again. And then not does he just come back and race again, the guy can win races. So, very cool. Going to be exciting to watch him and Cooper Webb go at it tonight. 7 p.m. on FS1.
Champion now moving up into that third position with a 57.6.
Zach Bell, 56.8. Oh. The more and more those whoops get cupped out, like we were talking about earlier, the more treacherous they get. But track looks great. You got to give it up to the Feld track crew. It was really, I liked hearing Ken Roxon talk on his interview to Lurch, giving the Feld track crew props, and Cooper Webb did as well for having the conditions as good as they are. Because yesterday, it was wet. Here's Chase Marquier. We got the triple out of the corner. Nice. It's on a heater, looking pretty good, looking pretty aggressive.
Yeah. Talk about Zach Bell, 24th
in the points.
In that point standings there, and the man in 23rd, Luke Clout, had that problem out there, but good to see Scott Champion and Chris Howell up in there, and then Frederick Norton, the Sweeting, sitting in that.
He missed the main event last week,
position.
and he wasn't happy about it. Unfortunate. He's got a lot of talent, Fast Freddy does.
Well, I'm surprised, remember last year he was riding a 450. I'm surprised that he jumped down to the 250 class, but good to see him out there riding.
There's Steve Madges, I believe. 733. Not showing up in our live. Oh, man. Oh, he just went down super hard. Let's hope he's back up. He's up and he's getting off the track. That was a bad digger right there. Oh, boy.
Yeah, and you got all the yellow flags out now, and we've talked about this in a number of shows, that when you're trying to lay down a fast lap time, you see the yellow flags, you see the red cross flags out there,
Slow down.
The riders get out and get off. Very hard to keep a consistent lap time.
Man, that was a bad one. I'm glad he's okay.
Tough guys. About 5:38 left here in this final B group qualifying session.
They're just all tough. All these guys are animals, and it's funny. You watch Weston Peick's segment that we had earlier, people's like, oh, well, can he fight? It's like, yeah, he sure can. Any motocrosser is not to be trifled with. You know, I call them the last gladiators. This sport is it's so dangerous, so sexy. You know, that's why we keep filling the stadiums, and that's why we're so passionate about what we do and why we love this sport so much.
Well, I think a lot of the fans ride motorcycles. They just don't ride it at this level, and they can appreciate when they see a guy hit a 65-foot triple or blitz a set of whoops, and you know they know that, hey man, this is the elite. This is another rider down. You see who that is? You're going to see the. It's a good shot of the over and under bridge.
Number 460, that's Jake. Looks like Manike. There's a good corner there.
Yeah, he's on a hot lap. Yeah, he's on a hot lap there. That's Thomas Dew.
Frenchman. And then Zach Bell still rolling around, not quite up to speed. Maybe a tweak to ankle.
Yeah.
It's Auberson right there, Killian Auberson. With under 5 minutes to go, it is Zach Bell, Chris Howell, Scott Champion, Zachary Comans, Thomas Dew. 6th place, Austin Politelli, Killian Auberson in 7th, Nick Cowenberg 8th, Brock Shoemaker 9th, Johnny Gilderda rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, and the other thing too, when you see some of the guys, as we see Bell just kind of circling around, when you come out of that the over and under, it's a left-hander, and then you go down through the whoops, it's a right-hander, and you're back on the starting line straightaway there. That's right where the mechanics are. So they put the signboards out. They're letting them know where they're at as far as if they can't see on the leaderboard. But right at the top, 66 or 65 rather, Zach Bell, and then Howell, Champion.
Harry's going to try to do a lap, yeah.
This is where we're talking about. If you see come out of that right-hander and you kind of look over at the mechanics, you'll see the board sticking out.
Big double.
I like how they jump that section there. They just kind of
into the top of
face it and then just bunny hop right up and over it.
Would you hit it, Jim?
I don't know.
I don't know if I would either.
Hard to say.
Those sections
that. It doesn't look too bad. I mean, you know, you got so much momentum after that big double there. Zach Bell still just kind of rolling around out there.
Well, at least he's not going around the whoops. You've been in a good mood all day, Jim. Nobody's gone around the whoops on you and gotten you fired up.
The reason why they haven't is because the whoops are short here. They're not as long as the others. Man, those whoops last week were pretty tough, and that's what happens. You see like a guy like Phil Nicoletti, Joey Savacci go down in those whoops. So then the Feld track crew, they say, you know what, let's kind of shorten them up a little bit. We don't want to get the guys hurt. About a minute 55 left in this final qualifying Group B practice.
Carrying a lot of speed into the corner there.
There's Bell now. He looks like he's back up to speed.
Right. That double looks fun now. I was scared of it when we were down there looking at it, but now I want to jump it.
There's those moguls in that corner. See, I notice how he stands up there and then he sits back down and lands on the downside of the over and under bridge. Immediately hits into the whoops there. Not really blitzing across them, kind of jumping across them. There's that dragging back. Little double here.
Under a minute to go. It is Zach Bell, Chris Howell, Scott Champion, Killian Auberson, and Zachary Comans rounding out the top 5.
That was nice, that triple double in that section right there.
I think they gave him a little bit more time in these second qualifying sessions.
Absolutely, I was just thinking the same thing. I looked back. Normally they got about 10 minutes, but
I think
we'll
they
have
got
to look.
15.
Yeah, they allowed to have a little bit more, and that might be a change for next year. You never know. A lot of the guys are saying they kind of like it. Just, hey, let's.
I was surprised to hear that. They said, yeah, let's just go. Let's get it fired up, and let's get the qualifying segments going. And
yeah, give us a little extra time, you know, and maybe 5 minutes, and then the green flag goes, and you're on the clock or something.
Here's a nice one-footer. Three, two, one. There it is. There it is. Checkered flag is going to be out. It's waving, and Zach Bell is the fastest, followed by Chris Howell, Scott Champion, Killian Albertson, and Zach Comans. Oh, yeah, Scott Champion, your third fastest qualifier. So
but if
that's
you look
it for 250B qualifying number 2.
Yeah, and if you look at them, 56s, then you got 57s, and you run into the 58s, and 58s consistently down the line until the 59s.
Guess what we got coming up next? We got
I know what
the
we
A
got
guys.
coming up.
And Mayra's going to join us again. We have some word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Amsoil. Let nothing stand between you and a great day of riding. Protect your weekend. Choose Amsoil synthetic lubricants for your bike and your truck.
DC Shoes is proud to be the official footwear sponsor of 2016 Monster Energy Supercross. DC, defying convention since 1994. Check out our latest products at journeys.com.
Motorcycle Mechanics Institute wants to give you a 2016 Kawasaki Terex 4LE side-by-side. Go to www.winthatride.com to enter for your chance to win. Oakley is proud to be the official eyewear sponsor of Monster Energy Supercross. Follow us at Oakley Motorsports and at Oakley on Instagram and Twitter.
Sponsored by Yamaha, from world-leading motocross, supersport, and cruiser motorcycles to ATVs, side-by-sides, generators, and more, Yamaha revs your heart.
And right, Mayra's back. Welcome back to O.Co Coliseum here, round 4. What's been going on in the pits? Did you get any news stories for us?
You know, I was trying to get an update on, unfortunately, Luke Cloud's little incident.
Yeah.
Horrible to see.
Right.
So hopefully we'll get some information on that. You know, I did hear some rumors that Josh Grant is going to be filling or taking Weimer's old spot at
Team Tedder Racing.
Tedder.
Oh, very cool.
So trying to figure out, you know, what's the real story there. Hopefully we'll have some confirmed information on that soon. But that's what the word is out there that's kind of making the circles.
Awesome. You do have some good stories. That's good to hear. And there we have 250As back on the track. There's Zach Osborne. They're off and going. Cooper Webb was the fastest the last time out, but Christian Craig up here said that the track was going to be a little bit better for him, and be interesting to see who comes out on top on this. 15-minute 250A qualifying session. So
yeah, and that's 5 more minutes like we talked about earlier, so they gave him a little bit extra in this final qualifying session, and like we talked about, Webb, a 55.7 that first time going out, and he's got a good lead. He's got an 18-point lead on Zach Osborne, so he's starting to almost get close to a full race.
But you know what? I know, Andy, that you like to call him the big bad wolf, but I really think the wolves are coming after him. I mean, with Christian Craig really challenging him last week, and then Osborne's there just lurking, waiting for his moment too. So I think they're coming for him too. He better watch out.
Right, Joey Sabachi, you know, a lot of those guys could jump. If he makes a mistake, if something happens, if something, you know, anything
Someone
can
is there to capitalize on it, and
exactly,
they're just
Mayra.
waiting for that moment.
Well, we talked a little bit, Mayra, earlier in the show about like if an Osborne can get the hole shot and run away, and Cooper Webb's buried in the back, he may have a hard time coming up and catching Osborne.
That's right. I mean, if somebody gets a good gap on him out front, it's going to be really tough for him to come back.
And you got to remember too that he hasn't won here in Oakland. Last year he had that Malcolm Stewart got his first win here, and he beat out Cooper Webb.
Had a little trouble with Tyler Bowers here last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Colt Nichols so far looks like he's leading him around. There's Colt, number 69, Cycle Trader Rock River Yamaha. Very happy with him so far. There's Christian. You can always tell it's him just by his style. Number 82, Trevor Rice.
You know, I'm sure he got a lot of confidence out of that heat race last week against Cooper. And then, of course, battling him in the main, I'm sure he's coming into this round feeling pretty good, feeling pretty solid.
Agreed. 55.3 for Colt Nichols. What'd you say Coop had? He had a 55.7?
55.7. So
yeah.
We talked about it earlier. That
business
I think
is
the more
picking up.
time, and especially with this practice, this final qualifying session being 15 minutes. Yeah, I mean, I can see him getting down into the 54s. There's Kristen Craig now up to
second. As we're watching Cole Thompson in our screen right here.
You know, don't think that a lot of these factory teams are not looking at Colt Nichols here. I mean, he's putting in some great times and everything.
Yes, he is.
Christina Denny's probably over there at the Rock River Cycle Trader Yamaha team going, oh man, don't take him away.
Yeah.
I want him one more
pretty good
year,
about having
you know?
him on board.
But if someone comes with the money bags and opens up and says, hey, look, we'd like to see you.
You know, I talked to Miss Ashley Phillips, the daytime announcer, and coming into the season opener at Anaheim, she said, hey, look out for Colt.
Yeah.
Colt's been riding with Robbie Raynard, her husband, and a lot of good things to say about his speed coming into the season. He's really produced. Hasn't really gotten a good start yet, so it's going to be interesting to see if he does get a whole shot. Can he run with the Joey Savacci? Can he run with the Zach Osborne?
But even without that start, he's still, everyone's still taking notice of him.
Agreed.
He's definitely opening up some eyes, that's for sure. 55-3. Colt Nichols, Kristen Craig second, Webb, Aldridge, Oldenburg, Smith. Then it changes.
Right. 55-3.
Oh, one of the riders down there. Who's that?
That's Osborne.
Is that Osborne?
Yeah, he's down hard.
He's up. Yeah. He's going to shake it off a little bit.
He just needs a second.
Yeah, I just need a second to collect myself here and
make sure my visor's good.
Feld track
see
crew
that, see that rut right there?
Yeah.
Right out of that corner in the outside. I'm not so, I'm predicting he probably hit that rut. This kicker right here also has been giving guys fits all day long. Colt Nichols navigated it.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Hang on.
It can happen fast out there.
Now he did that section a little bit different. Instead of bouncing off it, he just went ahead and pulled the trigger and said, look, I'm going to do it all.
And then he went 3-3-3 in that difficult rhythm. So Colt Nichols feeling it.
Well, and that's why he's got that fast lap time. He's up there. He sees that number 69 on the top of the leaderboard. Away goes Osborne.
Good.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
We've seen some nasty spills, in practice today. Hopefully
no
more guys get taken out before the night show.
Well, Christian Craig, when he was on, he talked about the track being pretty grabby, so it's grabbing the guy's front end. You saw, Colt Nichols there, the front end kind of went away.
Yeah.
It's a real, it's a different type of a soil up here, and a lot of the guys, are used to a little bit more harder pack and wheels skating around a little bit
Sliding
more with
grab.
them, but now it's grippy.
With a little under 10 minutes to go, it is Colt Nichols, Christian Craig, Alex Martin looking good out there in third, followed by Joey Savacci, Cooper Webb 5th, Jordan Smith 6th, Chris Aldridge 7th, Kyle Cunningham 8th, Michael Lube 9th, Mitchell Oldenburg, who had a big crash in the first qualifying session in the top 10.
I do hope that Alex Martin kind of put stuff together a little bit better this round. I know it was his first career podium last year here in Oakland, so hopefully, he can kind of bring back that positive vibe and do something better this week than he has in the past few weeks.
Yeah, he definitely needs to get that bike up on the podium or a possible top five. I mean, if you look at the positions that he's had, he hasn't, he's sitting way down in the points. I mean, he's sitting outside the top 10. He's sitting right now in 11th with 27 points. Kyle Cunningham with 28 in that 10th spot. But if you look at Alex Martin's finishes, Anaheim not too bad. He had, he got 15 points and then he got 10 points. And then last weekend was horrible. He only collected 2 points, which that tells me that's an 18th position, or 19th rather, for Alex Martin last weekend. So,
well, things are certainly shaking up. We have a new rider at the top of the leaderboard, Mayra.
Not surprisingly, Cooper Webb.
Oh,
actually, Joey Savacci jumps in there.
55 flat.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to note that we have 8 minutes still left in this practice, and I talked about it earlier. 54s, and I'm sure that they're going to drop it down into the 54s. But look at all the guys in the top 6 55s.
Yeah, the top 6 separated by 0.8 of a second. That's pretty awesome right there. It's almost like a mock main event. 15-minute practice session, It is like a mock main event.
Jimmy D right there, Jimmy Dakotas.
He's been solid in the top 5 all season, showing that he's worthy of that Geico Honda factory ride. And
I think he got the whole shot last week, didn't he? But Jimmy has a problem. I don't see RX on the thing, but I'm almost sure that he got the whole shot. But he's got a problem that first lap of really, he's got to just pull the trigger and just commit on that first lap. I think he's too nice that first lap.
Right. Like you said, he had a top 5 last weekend, so very commendable ride, very commendable finish. Joey Savatgy, 1/10 faster than Cooper Webb. With 7 minutes to go, it's Savatgy, Webb, Nichols, Dakotas, Christian Craig rounding out the top 5.
Who are you guys looking to be on the podium this week for the 250 class?
Well, I think obviously you got to go with Cooper Webb. And,
that one's a given. I guess it really just varies by the other two.
Right.
Osborne, Christian Craig. I mean, you can throw a Savatgy up there also. Another rider that, if he gets a good start, he
Alex
can run
Martin.
the pace, Alex Martin, but I'm looking at Colt Nichols.
Hey, I bet Jordan Smith is trying to hunt down his second podium.
You should be looking at Colt Nichols because guess who just jumped right back up
to the top with a 55.03.
Impressive. What a good story, It would be kind of ironic in a positive way that Alex Martin gets the first podium of his career for Cycle Trader Rock River Yamaha. Colt Nichols pulls that off, Christina Denny's going to like the Oakland Supercross.
You wonder if Alex might think, is the grease actually, or the grass actually greener where I went?
Right.
Well, I think it might be a greener. I just think the grass has a little bit more pressure. The pressure, I think, is a lot more over there than where he was at.
Obviously, Zach's feeling okay.
But the money's greener over there. That's for sure.
I'm sure that's not. It's a consolation prize, probably.
Joey Savatgy back up to the top. Things are really jumping around. Joey Savatgy with a 54.8, followed by Cooper Webb, Zach Osborne, Colt Nichols, and Christian Craig.
I wouldn't be surprised, Andy, like we talked about it with some of the riders that they prefer, hey, just give us 2 qualifying sessions, add a little bit more time on the back side of them, because I'm seeing a trend here. Normally this one would be over, but we're going to see with 5 minutes to go, I bet this changes up again.
Right. Boy, those whoops are starting to get really, really chewed up.
There's that 54.8
yeah.
for Savatgy.
3 guys now in the 54s.
Osborne went down hard, got back up, jumped back into the top 3.
He was probably a little heated after that spill.
Right. It'd be a big win for Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki if Joey Savatgy is able to pull it off. Been a while since that team's won.
They just need to get past Cooper Webb.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder how much Cooper Webb is, have in mind trying to go for that perfect season.
Savatgy jumped off the side of the track there and hit that tough line.
Yeah, I saw that jump.
That could have been ugly.
No, Mayra, we actually talked about that a little bit earlier in the show. There's been a couple people that have done it. James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael. That's a pretty tall company. But the way Cooper's winning these races, not even getting good starts, and he's taking his time and making good passes.
His instincts out there are just unreal. I don't think he'll get the reference, but it's like a lethal weapon.
Yeah, totally.
He's
like a wolf.
Hungry like the wolf.
Yeah, he's definitely impressive. Joey Savatgy still the fastest with about 4 minutes to go. It is Joey Savatgy, Cooper Webb, Zach Osborne, Colt Nichols. Take it back.
Talk to his mechanic. There's Webb at the top now.
Yeah. Cooper jumps back up to the top with a 54.2. 6/10, over a half a second faster than Joey Savatgy. Followed by Osborne, Nichols, Christian Craig.
That's probably Joey Savatgy might have saw that, and that's why, hey, I better go in and make a change on my bike.
Yeah, I can't go any faster.
Yeah. I gotta ask him about that. After he lays down a time, he always takes off his hand on the clutch side. I'm not. He always see that?
Oh, he does
takes it off.
I noticed.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just subconsciously he just does it to rest his hand or whatever. Because we had thought earlier in
last
the season
weekend
that
we thought
something was hurt.
Must be just one of those deals. Just a little habit.
He probably don't even know he's doing it.
He knows he's fastest on the board right now. With 3 minutes to go. Christian Craig jumps up to second place. 3 minutes to go. It is Cooper Webb, Christian Craig, Zach Osborne, Joey Savatgy, and Colt Nichols in your top 5. On through the top 10, Alex Martin 6th, Jamie Dakota 6th, 7th, Mitchell Oldenburg 8th, Chris Aldrich 9th, and Kyle Cunningham riding out the top 10. But
I did expect to see Jordan Smith doing a little bit better than where he's sitting right now with that 56.5.
Right.
How's the crowd, Mayra, in the pits? The party in the pits looked pretty packed out there earlier.
Yeah, the temperature is dropping a little bit. It's a little chillier, but I don't think it's deterring people at all. They're excited that Supercross is back in Oakland.
Yeah. The NorCal fans. Very proud fans up here. Got to give a shout out to all my friends at NorCal: Todd Hicks, Chris Neal, Matt Story, Jared Wright, Brett Conley. I lived up here in this region for 5 years, and I liked it up here. It was good.
Probably did a lot of riding over at Hollister.
Did a lot of riding at Hollister. Did a lot of mountain biking in Santa Cruz, over at Monterey.
Christian Craig now. Looks like he's on a heater. He's trying to jump up and let's see.
Getting all the way over that section looks good.
Yeah, he's definitely.
He wants to jump to that top spot.
There's 3 again, and 3 through that section. Christian
momentum.
Craig is on a heater right now. We'll see if he can better his time into 54.7 that he posted.
He's got to pick up about a half a second.
I'm sure he'd love to end this qualifying faster than Cooper Webb.
Well, he's almost in that section now. He's got a right-hander. He's going to come over. Let's see
where he goes.
What his last lap time was. Let's see here.
54.7.
55.3 his last lap.
Okay.
Still that fastest is going to be a 54.7 for him. So he was on a heater, that's for sure, because the last lap before that, it was 1:11. So he was on a heater. The time's running out. 51 seconds left in this final A Group 250 qualifying session here.
What an main event last weekend. That's what makes me be such a passionate fan, is just seeing those guys go back and forth and hearing the crowd
They
scream.
had the entire crowd up on their feet screaming.
Yeah. Looks like Cooper's putting in another lap.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Cooper Webb,
he's
on a heater, and he's going to see if he can demoralize the guys some more.
Let's see how good he gets this.
Look at Osborne, 54.4 now into second.
Only 2/10 off of Cooper's time. As the sun's beginning to set, 8 seconds to go in 250 qualifying Group A number 2. We'll see if Coop finishes up this lap and knocks down his time. Checkered flag is out. Cooper Webb is the fastest. Followed by Zach Osborne, Christian Craig, Joey Savacci, Colt Nichols, Alex Martin, James Dakotas, Mitchell Oldenburg, and Chris Aldridge rounding out the top 10. It's going to be a good main event with these guys. I can't wait to see it. Hate to say it, but I kind of hope Cooper Webb doesn't get the whole shot.
Well, I think that all the fans here in ODOT want to see the same thing. They like to watch him come through the pack, but I guarantee you the Yamaha boys don't want to see that. They want to see him get out there and
make it look easy.
Yeah.
Pretty excited. Here we go with Ashley
here
Phillips.
in Oakland. Zach, congratulations. You were out there just on fire in this round of qualifying. How much did that crash that you had out there affect you?
Oh, it hurt pretty bad. I just landed straight on my shoulder. I kind of crowd-started going off the face, and it was okay, though. I mean, we put the Rockstar Energy bike right up there in the top 2, so going into the night show, I feel good.
How did you put that behind you in your head mentally and move forward and set this really fast time?
It was tough. I mean, the track's technical. It's going to bite some people tonight, and I just pray that it's not me.
Well, looking forward to seeing you in heat number 1. One more time for number 16, Rockstar Energy Factory Husqvarna of Racing rider Zach Osborne. Now we're going to come over here and talk to the champ.
Right. So that time we talked to the second fastest qualifier, but Cooper looked like he wanted to talk to Ashley there a little bit.
Yeah.
Coming up next, we have 450A qualifying number 2. There they are, the MX versus ATV Supercross Encore starting line. So there's Chad Reed, Will Hahn, Tommy Hahn, number 47. See Nick Schmidt, 79. Cole Seeley.
Yeah, everything's looking really good. The bike's really good. The team's been working really hard, the whole Star Racing Yamaha team. And just couldn't do it without the Lord Jesus Christ, my mom and dad, my trainer, Garrett Swanepoel, Eric Gass, my mechanic, the whole Rockstar Energy, Yamalube Yamaha team. And
looking forward to a good night here in Oakland.
We're looking forward to seeing you out there once again. One more time for this #1 machine, Yamaloop Star Racing Yamaha rider, Cooper Webb.
So we did hear from Cooper Webb there, the fastest rider in the 250 Group A qualifying #2.
Yeah, we should have. I mean, they kind of threw a wrench into our program. Sometimes they do the second fastest, but Cooper was right up there, and he was waiting for Osborne. And he goes, hey, man, I was the fastest in the first one. I'm the fastest in the second one, and we'll see what happens with that 54.2 if he can win.
2/10 faster than Zach Osborne, who went down hard, Mayra, and came up swinging.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know it hurt him, but he jumped up and he was not going to go down, finish the qualifying without putting in a good lap.
Yeah, they're in a little bit of a holding pattern right now as you see all the guys on the MX versus ATV Supercross Encore starting gate. What they're doing is the Dirtworks guys are out there kind of grooming a few of the spots and some of those ruts, trying to make it a little bit better track. They're going to spend about maybe 5 minutes out on the track, and just because it started to really rut up. And what that tells us, Andy, is that main event time, we're going to have a lot of ruts.
That's what we were speaking about earlier. I could tell, as much as it's running up in these little bitty 10-minute practice sessions, a 15-lap main event and a 20-lap main event, it's going to be treacherous.
Well, they could actually in between on the podium. What they'll do is after the 250 main, they'll probably go out there and groom up some of it. They want to make the track safe for the 450 main event, so they'll probably groom it up again if it gets too bad. Because what happens is, Andy, you get a rut so deep that when you compress in it grabs your
foot pegs.
Foot pegs, and they got skid plates on, and it's just it's a safety issue, and they want to make it safe, and they want to have a good race for the whole 20-lap main event for the fans here, Mayra.
Absolutely.
So in our first qualifying session, it was Ken Roxon was fastest. James Stewart was the second fastest. So James is back. He has a lot of speed. He looks good. What do you think about James Stewart tonight in the main event?
Well, when I was talking to him earlier, he seems in a really positive state. He's feeling good, got some good time on the bike. So I really do think that we'll see him in the top 10. I'm not sure about a podium just yet.
Okay.
It being that, he didn't even finish his first race, had those other races off. So I'm not going to put him on a podium position this week, but I think he's going to come out doing pretty well. I think there's a great potential to see him in the top 5.
What about the other veteran, Chad Reed? Where do you see him?
Chad Reed, I actually have him in the 4th spot right now. Yeah, on my fantasy picks, I do have him in the 4th spot.
Jim Holley?
I'm waiting for that
this next
one before I make my picks, but and also I want to see what Christophe Forcell does. I want to see if he comes up to has the fastest lap time. And you got to remember that Kenny Roxon had a great time, but I think Kenny Eli Tomac, I think he's going to get up on the podium this week.
I think so too. After that, awful mistake, final lap and going down, I'm sure he was feeling pretty riled up about that at the end of last week. So I'm sure he's going to come back and look for some redemption out there.
We got to look, as we're getting a chance to look at the remaining schedule here. February 6th, University of Phoenix. Next weekend, Glendale. Back to Petco Park
Military
on the
Appreciation
13th.
Night.
Yep. And then West Coast for the Arlington boys here in Texas. And then we start the East, February 27th. Then, of course, March 5th, Daytona. And Mayra, after that, where are we going?
Then we're going to go to Rogers Center in Toronto. Back to Toronto.
Burr.
I'm sure the fans up there are pretty pumped to be back. Then we've got Ford Field in Detroit, Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, back to California, Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis.
And from there, we'll go to Everett Jones Dome in St. Louis, Missouri. That's going to be a day race, followed by Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, MetLife Stadium, and we're going to wrap it all up in Sam Boyd Stadium in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. And we've got a lot of racing to go still.
Yeah, and the interesting thing that I like about that is you talked about the day race in St. Louis, the next weekend back-to-back.
Right.
That's going to be really it's going to be hard for these riders because we were going to talk about it earlier.
Right.
But track walk, I think, is like at 7:30 in the morning. It's like an outdoor national.
It's cold.
There's no sleeping in there.
No.
Right, but it's going to be exciting. But you got me thinking a little bit. The guy that won that day race, you remember what the conditions were like, and the track actually was kind of familiar to this one. It had it under and over bridge. Eli Tomac.
Eli Tomac looked good. Cole Seeley leading it as we're getting a chance now to look at it, zoom in on a couple of the track crew.
Right, there you go. Perfect jump face.
Yeah, that looks good now. That's safe.
But you remember at MetLife, that obstacle was exactly like that one,
But the other thing on the MetLife that I remember about that is once you landed on the down, it was a tight left-hander after that. And there's James Stewart. Now
Looks
they're
like
getting ready to
fire
fire it
him
up.
off.
some of the people watching this, they look and, and you've been there, and Mayra, you ride and everything, but you go out to some guys struggle to start these 4. James just started to ride up.
Dungey's off.
Look at behind him, Anderson, right behind him.
I'm really hoping Anderson, is back on the podium this week too. With the 5, top in the 5th position the last couple of weeks. I think it's about time that he gets back up there.
Anderson now gets around. Look at, whoa, stepped out a little bit there.
Just want to get all these guys safe. I just keep thinking that and saying that, with the ruts and the soft track conditions.
I think the guys are relieved that the whoops are not quite to the degree that they were last week with all that mayhem that just happened all night in the whoop section.
I agree, Mayra.
Look at the O'Neill rider, Blake Baggett there, kind of tucking in behind the number 1 there. Good to see Blake Baggett making his debut in Supercross. Anderson now coming across.
El Chupacabra. What does that mean, Mayra?
So a chupacabra is kind of this blood-sucking, weird kind of animal vampire thing in the Mexican kind of culture, and like superstition. So basically, if we got in trouble when I was little, my mom would be like, the chupacabra is going to come and get you.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a very fitting nickname for Blake Baggett, who's known for coming through the pack.
You look at James Stewart there. We're getting a chance to watch him in the whoops right there. And, he let everybody else kind of go, and he's just kind of easing his way into things.
Anderson continues to lead him around. Let's see what his lap time is here. They're just getting warmed up in this 15-minute long practice session, their final qualifying session of the day. Anderson with a 56.4, just getting warmed up. They'll probably drop that to a 55.7, 55.4 maybe. There's Marvin, and I've been talking about Marvin a lot today, but I think it's going to be time for him to really start breaking out, getting a good start, and showing these guys the talent that he has. I think he can get the job done on a 450.
I think so too. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on him tonight. I think for him, a lot of it was kind of mental going into this season, but when he's riding confidently, he's just so fluid and out there, and he's so great to watch. So I'm really hoping that he gets back into that vibe and goes out there and he has continuously improved his results over every week. So hopefully we'll see him, continue that trend tonight too.
Ryan Dungey to the top, 56 flat.
There's Weimer on his new ride.
Yeah. Totally different bike. Only has 4 days on the Soaring Eagle, Jimmy John's RCH Suzuki.
But he had so much positive stuff to say about, even just like the first few minutes on the bike.
Cole Seeley. Cole's dangerous. He gets a good start. He could almost taste that victory at the season opener. He was so close, and just, the nerves got to him a little bit. And then that guy got to him.
Yeah.
What more can you say about Ryan Dungey?
Yeah, I don't think this guy, Ryan Dungey, the nerves are like steel, look at, he was pressured with Chad Reed last weekend, the weekend in San Diego. He was pressured. He didn't let that bother him one bit.
Nope.
But let's see the 94 and the number 3 get up there and
see this
get some
here.
more. Kenny Roxon at the top now.
Jumps right to the top. 55.3. Now that's getting after it right there. 55.3 followed by 55.4 of Dungey. Will Hahn, your 3rd fastest so far, followed by Eli Tomac. Marvin Muskin rounding out the top 5.
But still a lot of time left, 11 minutes. This is a rain-shortened program as we see who's
Tomac.
Is that Tomac?
Yeah.
Lost the front end
again.
Coming out of a corner, it's only, he must have lost that front end. But, with the the rain delayed schedule, no free practice, a little bit longer session, I think that we'll see that time of Kenny Roxon's first qualifying session of 54.8, and now he's at a 55.3. There's James Stewart at the top now.
Man, that gets me fired up. The guy can come back. The guy's got grit. It's tough what happened to him at the opener. Some people sided with, You know, Dungey, some people said that, you know, he took him out. It was just a racing deal. But the bottom line, it was unfortunate for James. But on a positive note, look what he's doing. He's back, jumps right to the top of the board.
You know, a lot of people did say that, you know, Dungey took him out, but, you know, Dungey has such a history of being such a clean rider. And in fact, usually I would hear Dungey needs to be more aggressive. He needs to be more aggressive.
Dungey lost the front end right there. Yeah. Uncharacteristic of the man who runs that number 1, making a mistake in this qualifying.
Very uncharacteristic. Same as, you know, trying to say that he took out James Stewart. It's just not in his character, and it's not the way he rides. So I think that's a little bit of an extreme assessment of that incident.
Agreed.
Kenny looks like he might be on another heater right now. Hopefully,
I think it's
stay
time.
out of his way.
And, you know, Trey Kennard, he's got the handguards on. Judy's hand up pretty bad last weekend. He hasn't had a good start to his 2016 championship.
He is not, but he won here last year.
Exactly. You just finished my sentence. I was just getting ready to say, you got to remember who won this thing last year, and he came through the pack to do it.
Yeah.
You know, came from like 10th place. I talked to Tim Ferry down in the pits, and Ferry said that Trey feels good, fast as ever, so.
Still got the stitches in his hand.
Yeah. Tough guys.
Surprised Will Hahn up there still in that 4th. Will Hahn putting in some good rides in that 4th. Eli Tomac, his teammate behind him. Yep. Seeley, Muskin, Reed, Baggett.
Roxon jumps back up to the top. Look at these guys camped all over each other. 55 from 2nd all the way down to 9th.
Kenny taking a little bit of a breather.
Kenny's a 2nd faster than the whole field. So he's definitely feeling it today.
You know, if Will can stay out of that LCQ and have to undergo that extra, you know,
stress
effort, I think that we could see him, you know, do better in the main. It's just
10,
so tough,
5.
you know, having to race so many motos before you actually get to the main. So
yeah.
Oh, Kenny, where are you going, buddy? You got something in his eye, it looks like.
Marvin Muskin jumps up to the 2nd fastest. 3rd fastest now.
It's going to gain some confidence for him. There's Marvin and James Stewart.
You know, we haven't really put the Suzukis on our podium picks yet. We had Pat Alexander on the show. Maybe it's
and they were 1-2 in that first qualifying session.
Right.
Kenny back on the track now. .737 to go in this final Group A qualifying session.
We'll run through the top 10. It is Ken Roxon, James Stewart, Marvin Muskin, Christoph Porcel in 4th, Ryan Dungey 5th, Will Hahn 6th, Eli Tomac 7th, Trey Kennard 8th, Cole Seeley 9th, and Chad Reed rounding out the top 10.
Well, and after that, you're going to have Blake Baggett in 11th, Weston Peick, Davey Millsaps, Jason Anderson, Justin Brayton in 15th, Mike Alessi, Jake Weimer 17th, Vince Freeze 18th, Tommy Hahn sitting in that 19th, Alex Ray, Pinky in that 20th position, and Lawson Bopping, the Australian, is 21st, and Nick Schmidt in that 22nd position.
I tell you what, guys.
Ryan Dungey
jumps up to the top. Aggressive.
Not
Speed.
surprised.
Speed, that's the thing, you know. He was fast last year, but he comes in this year arguably looking even faster, Jim Holley.
Yeah, but don't hold your breath. We still got 6 minutes to go in here, and I know that Ken Roxon and Stewart and Muskin, and there's our buddy Porcel.
Right,
Porcel slips into the top 5 now.
Purcell just needs to
get a good start.
He's obviously fast.
Alex Ray, you saw him shaking his hands out there, 314. Man, I'm pumping up out there.
Right. There's the Dunge. We haven't called him the Diesel for a reason, you know? He's on fire. He hasn't steadily got better. He's just like there.
How about the Dungeonator?
The Dungeonator?
Like the Dungeonator.
That one's around a little bit. That one's around a little bit.
Yeah, that's around, okay.
But he's not big on nicknames. He's pretty big on winning, though. And everything from, you know, an ESPN ESPY to you know, the Supercross Championship.
To being on the Wheaties box.
To being on the Wheaties box, you know.
I think the only thing he doesn't have is that Monster Energy Cup win.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the things that's eluded him in his career. Looked really good around that corner and through the whoops. Another excellent right-hander.
It's interesting if you look at it, that his best lap of 53.8 in the last lap, 1:37. So what that tells me is that he just kind of, you know, slowing down a little bit, checking out a few different lines, and maybe we'll see if he can better that 53.8. Anderson, the Lobo.
10th fastest, which I wouldn't put a lot of stock into that. He gets a whole shot. I don't know if anybody can pass him. He's that fast.
And look what he did at Anaheim. He really wasn't that fast. He
Qualified,
crashed, almost
flew
took
off
out a
the
bunch
track.
of people. Yeah, and he comes back and wins the main event.
Right. With a little under 5 minutes to go, Ryan Dungey, Ken Roxon, James Stewart, Marvin Muskin, and Eli Tomac rounding out the top 5. Once again, we want to thank all the viewers for tuning in with us today on Race Day Live, all of our international viewers. We've had a good time here in Oakland. It's going to be an outstanding show tonight on FS1 at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Lots of storylines. Blake Baggett's back. James Stewart's back, and he's fast. So I can't wait to see it. I just can't wait to see James go. He deserves to have a good night. He's had a tough go.
If he could just go, like make it throughout the
20 laps.
entire 20 laps.
Yeah. There's Tomac back going again. Tomac jumps up to the 5th spot in qualifying. Christoph Porcel jumps up to 2nd. 3rd now.
Yeah, you can't count him out.
Not for a fast lap, you can't.
No.
You know, Weston Peick, he's been kicked off the track a few rounds in a row.
Yeah, Brayton got him last weekend and wasn't too happy about it. So we might want to keep, and folks tuning in, you might want to keep your eyes on number 10 and number 28 tonight. Those guys gate together. Could be interesting.
Yeah, you don't want to be on the outside of Weston Peick going into a corner, that's for sure. Dungey into the pits now to talk to MMI grad Carlos Rivera. Let's see if they make a little, going to make a shock change on the rear. Carlos dropping down and just the rear shock there.
There's Reedy. You know, on the deal with Brayton and Peick, I asked Justin, I was like, what happened? He said, well, I was on the inside, Weston was on the outside, and he's so big, he'll lean into you and just throttle into you. He said, I just stood my ground. He's like, I didn't try to hit him, I didn't back down. And he fell and he was upset, but that was the way it went.
So it sounds more like it was Pike's maneuver that kind of backfired on himself.
Right. I'm not going to tell that to Weston, though.
No. Dungey circling around looking for an opportunity to get a good, clean track and to
go even faster.
Down a fast lap time, see if he can beat that one.
Just a little over 2 minutes to go. It is.
I know our buddy Kurt Benke, who plays the RM Fantasy Supercross, his picks tonight.
Yeah.
Dungey, Reed, Tomac.
Dungey, Reed, Tomac.
Dungey, Reed, Tomac.
It would be a replay of last week if Tomac had held on.
Right.
Right.
I was thinking maybe if we could look in our souvenir program that you can get it any of the merchandise, or you can get it online. Maybe we should see when Eli Tomac's birthday is, and we'll get him a little birthday gift from Kenny Roxon.
There you go.
For that gift he gave him last weekend on the podium.
Return the favor.
There's Weston, sitting 14th right now. With a little under 2 minutes to go, it is Dungey, Roxon, Porcel, Anderson, and James Stewart rounding out the top 5. The 53.8 for Ryan Dungey. I don't know if anybody's going to touch that one.
Is that the fastest we've seen today?
Yep, that's the fastest. The first go around with Kenny Roxon, a 54.8. So a
full second faster.
Yep. So he'll have the first gate pick and the second heat race for Ryan Dungey if it holds up, as Weston Peick now makes a little bit of a bobble there, and hopefully he's okay. Looks like he's going to ride off.
Yeah, something's tweaked there a little bit, maybe ankle or something.
Yeah, he's definitely in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
He's going to catch his breath there.
He'll catch his breath.
Still got the bike running, though. You notice how the clutch, he had the clutch in. Still in gear.
It's the end of that tough rhythm section there. Who knows, maybe just took a handlebar to the midsection. He's riding away right now.
He's riding away gingerly. Look how far back he is on the seat and everything. He's not moving around.
That looks like
he's just in defense mode, trying to get off the track, and hopefully he'll be all right. They got a lot of great, medical staff that get these guys back up, and he's going to ride off. I think he's done. He's going to
pull it in. 20 seconds to go. Checker flag's going to be out here shortly.
Look, he nodded his horn. Get on. Get on.
We're out of here.
Let's get out of here. I'm done.
time ticking away. Pretty eventful qualifying session there, Mayra.
Oh yeah, so much going on between like the fast lap times, all the spills that we've seen. Unfortunately, we have seen quite a few.
Yeah. Look who jumped into the top 5 position there.
Chad Reed.
Yeah. And for Chad Reed, that's a great qualifying effort.
Yeah, no, he's happy anytime he can get in that top 5.
Right.
Reed knows that he's smart. He's a wily veteran. He knows that, hey, this doesn't mean nothing. I'm not getting any extra money, any extra points. I'm good. I'm happy with my bike. I'm in the top 5.
Big whip by Roxon. Nasty whip by Roxon.
I think Reed is enjoying kind of proving the naysayers wrong, so far.
With the checkered flag out, Ryan Dungey, your fastest qualifier, followed by Ken Roxon, Christoph Porcel, Jason Anderson, Chad Reed, James Stewart 6th, Marvin Muskin 7th, Eli Tomac 8th, Jake Weimer 9th, Trey Kennard rounding out the top 10.
And look at how many laps they've done. 14, 13, 15, 13, 13, 15. With that longer extra 5 minutes, they're getting some more time on the track. Old Lurch is looking for Ryan Dungey.
Yeah.
We can call him Mr. Wheaties. What do you think, Mr. Wheaties?
Dungey? Mr. Wheaties?
Mr. Wheaties.
It's definitely pretty cool. Let's see if Lurch
I never got my Wheaties box signed.
You didn't? We know somebody. We might be able to get you a Wheaties box. They're in the stores.
I'll just take it down with me for the podium interviews later.
Champion Ryan 53.8, a great run there, and it looked like a wild ride holding on to the KTM horsepower.
Yeah, the track's tough, and just trying to find some good lines, get the bike dialed in for the night show, and but everything feels good. KTM 450 feels nice, and just trying to work on lines on the track, and it's tricky. So it's going to be a tough race, but looking forward to it.
As a rider coming in, track was covered yesterday. You're thinking it might be wet, sloppy. Mentally, does that make you focus more, or does it sort of mess you up?
Well, you got to focus regardless, but with the moisture in the dirt, it breaks down really quick. The ruts get deep. Track gets choppy too, so it's the conditions. You got to really hit your marks and set yourself up. So, but yeah, a little bit of rain with the little drizzle all week. It's kind of got this track feeling a little soft. So but it's not a bad thing.
Well, I got to tell you, you figured it out here in qualifying session number 2. Let's give it up for Ryan Dungey on the Red Bull KTM number 1 and current points leader. We're going to send it back up to you, Herb.
Thanks a lot.
Well, there you have it, Ryan Dungey, the fastest qualifier, which brings us to the final RM fantasy segment of today. I'll kick it off, and I think I'm going to go with what I've been going with all day. I'm going to go with the veterans. I think it's going to be Ryan Dungey, Chad Reed, James Stewart.
Mayra?
I'm going to go with Dungey, Eli Tomac, and Ken Roxon.
Right.
I think I'm going to go with, can I start off with my wild card?
Yeah, go ahead and start out with your wild card.
I'm going to put Christoph Porcel
in
my wild card spot. And then I think to win it, I think I'm going to go with Ken Roxon. I think that Oakland owes him one here.
Okay.
I think he's going to be up there. I think Dungey's going to keep him honest in that second. And I think Chad Reed third. Fourth, I'm not sure. I mean, I might put an Anderson in fourth, and fifth, maybe Trey Kennard.
Right. Good picks. Good picks. Excellent picks. Head over to rmfantasysx.com today. We've had a good time today. It's been a good show. It's our 4th show of the season.
A lot of great guests.
Had some great guests. We had Brock Tickle. We had Christian Craig. We had David Knudsen. And, it was great having everybody on the show today. Want to thank all of our sponsors. Want to thank all the international viewers. On behalf of Miss Mayra Tinajero, Jim Holley, I'm Andy Bowyer. We'll see you next weekend in Glendale, Arizona.